You're being joined here today by somebody who, if I sat here to introduce him for 15 minutes, the intro wouldn't cover enough. He's been through more peaks and valleys than anybody you've probably ever talked to. And we address him by the following: Astral Warlord, Shamanic Badman, Deeper Perceiver, Higher Achiever, Don motherfucking SamRaz in the flesh himself. We're going to go into a little bit of a personal intro with him and then start flowing. Genuinely, this story is something you could take away something from. And beyond just being able to take away something from him, he's the type of person, he can look at you, analyze your top, bottom flaws. Me and Tom are currently training with him, and it's been an absolutely life-changing experience. So we're going to get into who he is, what he does, and then the following after that, we'll just keep the flow. So go ahead. SamRaz, the people will call you SamRaz. You have about 20 names, but fuck, if you don't have 20 names, you're just not doing it.
That there's a good point, you know. People don't even value the value of a name. Like, you ever think, how is it a company can spend however many millions on consulting for branding where they're going to change like one syllable in their name, and a parent is going to think for like 5 minutes, or even worse, not even think themselves, look in a baby book and give a name to a child. Do you know what I mean? Like, your name is a spell. Like, words are literally spells, and you're going to literally brand yourself with a spell forever and not put any thought into it.
100%.
It's actually disgusting.
100%. We're training with you, and we're sitting there, we're midway through a drill, and he's like, you know what, Thomas Tracy, and he starts analyzing Thomas's name, basically just saying why that's fucking, and we'll blur that out if we need to.
Nah,
but
but
basically just the consonants, like just being sharp, like warrior name. Yeah.
Thomas Tracy. Thomas Tracy's coming after you. Take your daughter.
Yeah, exactly. With the Chuck Liddell haircut pulling in is just like the name, and it just matches.
It is completely true. There's like, depending on like the poetic structure of your name is so relevant to your personality, like how you carry yourself, the energy with which you flow through reality with. Think about it, like, your name is a brand. You are a brand, right? Just by existing, you're a brand. Like, all brands have names, so therefore you're literally a brand because you have a name, right? So that name, like I said at the start, like why do brands spend so long thinking about their name, and they get consultation, they change it as they get up and running? So that's why it's important. You say you got 20 names, it's kind of funny, but not really, because that's why real guys have like aliases, and they introduce themselves as something they want to be introduced as, because obviously you can't choose your own name. Maybe you can, maybe there is some sort of psychic thing going on in the womb, but I don't remember choosing my name, because if I would have, I'd have one more gang name than Sam. Like, so I've got a beef with my name, which is why I had to put a D in front of it, like DonSamRaz. Like, it's syllabically more powerful and makes more of a statement than just my actual name is Sammy. And my name was supposed to be Raza. My full name is Razavi, it's a Persian name. It was supposed to be Razavi, which would have been gangster. It would have been sick, right? And then my dad cucked it at the last minute, because my mum was like, oh no, he might stand out too much or something. So he was like, okay, let's go for something kind of English, kind of Islamic. So I'm like half like Middle Eastern. So they were like, yeah, Sammy. Like, Sammy. It's just like, bruv, shut your mouth. Like, it's there's no power there. It's like, yeah, my name's Sammy. It just, do you know what I mean? It fizzles out. Do you know what I mean?
Reese.
Yeah.
Cyrus.
Bro, Reese, I don't even know you, but like, yeah, but it's true. No, it's fully true though. So like, there's a lot of power in it. I feel bad for this Reese kid, because I'm gonna meet him and I'm gonna have such an impression of him. Like, I'm gonna have all these judgments because of you two. So, but no, it's completely true. Yeah. So pay the fuck attention to your name, innit? And if you don't like it, you can absolutely give yourself a new one. Like, you become whatever you want to become. So that's genuinely an important point, in my opinion. But also, there's a caveat to that, which is the whole process about, in my opinion, the whole point of life is literally self-discovery. So it's not about just putting external things upon you because you're not happy with who you are. And so you're trying to become all these things as an escape because you've got no self-awareness. It's like, it's more of an empowering journey of like, you're trying new things, and as you're trying new things, you're seeing what works and what doesn't. And it's a Jeet Kune Do principle, right? It's a martial art principle of like, just take what's useful, discard what's not. So you try these different personas out, and that's what people typically go through in their like teenage years and stuff like that, and in their 20s. Like, you go through this period of self-discovery, and then you realize, I don't need to add anything. I don't need to be something I'm not. Like, I am who I am, and that's great. Do you know what I mean? And then you, at that point, you are what you are. But yeah, pick a good name, innit? Don't be a about it.
So going back to the very origin. So tell me about like what was like growing up in the UK, like your whole backstory, because I already know your backstory, but it's fucking insane. So let's hear it from you.
Yeah, it was so a mix, so biracial, where on my dad's side everyone's like Iraqi, Persian, Indian, and I don't even really understand it myself, which is part of the reason I've learned so much about the importance of creed and knowing where you're from and what you stand for. Do you get what I mean? And why I even just had that little segue from names and shit. Like, it's important to know your lineage. So half of it on my dad's side was Middle Eastern, basically, and Islamic, and like quite conservatively Islamic, and the other half was like white Christian, like English. So I was born in London. Financial circumstances all right, like pretty normal, but like ethnically it was kind of confusing because I was like the only one my color in my immediate environment for like 10 years. I was like a Rice Krispie in a bowl of Cocoa Pops. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like the odd one out. And I got called Gorda Bacha, which is like white boy. So like my early experience was like it was like Islamic. It was Middle Eastern Islamic, like incense, like fucking Paki food, like Persian food, Farsi. And what was interesting is all the house that I grew up in was, the door was just always open, and there was like 50 people in the house at any given point. Like, no one ever, there was always something happening there. And I thought like I was related to everyone, and I kind of was and kind of wasn't. And then kind of at like maybe 9 years old, like my dad fell out with his family and moved to the south coast of the UK in a place called Brighton, which is like the opposite of conservative values. It's like literally the opposite. It's
gay capital of UK.
It's where the gay pride parade started, I think, in Europe. They pride themselves on like, see how normal people will they'll pride themselves on like the letters that come after their name will be degrees, like PhD or like MSc and stuff like that. People from Brighton, they pride themselves on the letters that come after their name represent like mental health disorders. They're like, yeah, I'm from Brighton, I've got OCD, bipolar, ADHD. Like, they're fucking absolute waste, man. Like, it's the gay capital of the UK. It's the most hedonistic place. Like, it's completely normal to go, like, have. So I can explain it now. So as an example, so I moved there overnight. So bear in mind, for the first 8 years, I'm like getting read the Quran like 5 times a day. I'm getting woken up at 3 a.m. to like pray, like at sunrise and stuff like that. And then overnight, just get moved to this town where the first thing I saw when I landed there was like 2 men like playing with each other's dicks in the middle of Churchill Square, which is the shopping centre there. Like, just out in the public, and people are just walking past it, and I'm like, so like, it's just a young age, just walking past it, like what is happening? Like, why is this a thing? And like, what everyone sees today with like the liberals, like the pink hair and stuff like that, it was absolutely weird. Like, Brighton's the OG of it. They like started that whole thing, I swear. So this was like early 2000. Everyone like got pink hair, stuff like that, and it was just. Bearing in mind, I'm coming from a place where like my auntie would literally like walk behind my uncle in public, like things like that. Like, it was like women would be downstairs, men would be upstairs praying. Like, there was like really obvious divide. And now you're here where it's like same-sex marriages, like non-binary, all this sort of thing. I went to a school, so part of the reason, because I was doing really well in school, I was kind of intelligent, so I got accepted into like a really good place to learn. But the thing is, it was full of these politics. So I got in there, and one of the first things they said in like a religious studies class was, we were talking about something, whatever, like the creation of like the universe and stuff. And I said the sentence, when God made the world, did he? And then said my question. And then the teacher, this was when I was like 8, the teacher went, hey, we don't assume God's gender here. Like that. Bro. Swear to God. This was in 2002, yeah. So that was like that kind of
very early.
I swear to God. So I'm like 8, yeah. And there's all that stuff going on. But then I'm still in the mind of, because the way that I moved was like overnight. It was like kind of under not very nice circumstances, just deposited in this new place, like completely away from what I just found normal. So I'm like trying to make sense of this. And then you probably know this from being Lebanese, but like, if you grow up with like an Islamic parent, best believe you're doing your homework, innit? Like, best believe you're on point with your academics and stuff. So I'm there trying my best to fit in and like do what I'm told. But it's just so going against what I've already been told. And also my common sense. This is another point, is that children are way more intelligent and more present than most adults because they haven't been conditioned yet. So kids, like, people don't give kids enough respect. Like, they are the teachers. Like, kids will teach you everything about just how to be as a human. So at that age, I'm like very raw and in touch with truth, I believe. And just knowing that was all such nonsense, trying to like just make sense of it. But then I was getting hit quite a lot growing up as well. And just being told, I was always like playing up because I just fucking hated it. I hated this environment. You know what it was like? It was like, you know, Damien from The Omen. If you've seen The Omen, you know, when they drive past the church and he just starts crying, like, he just has a meltdown all the time. That was kind of like me. Like, every time I was having to go to this school, this institution, like just being around in that environment, the vibrations of the air was just.
Were you getting bullied, or did you just hate everyone there?
No, so I'll come on to that. So that kind of factored into it as well, where. But just going in like that, just that initial environment, I was like, this just feels wrong, because the egregore of that place, the collective consciousness of a town where everyone has been told it's okay to not be okay, be on drugs, like gayness is fine, like all of this mad shit. It just felt weird, and I didn't know how to explain it, like, but it just didn't feel right. So I was just deeply unhappy at a young age, and there's other reasons as well, which I can come on to, but as we talk about like biology and like DNA and stuff like that. But so I didn't like it, but then because my dad was going through whatever he was going through, and just was like, just wanted me to fit in, so I would just get hit like all the time, as like trying to, something's like bent out of place, you try and hammer it back in. That's kind of what it felt like. So it just wasn't a peaceful time. And to come onto the like bullying thing, so I obviously don't look Middle Eastern. I don't look like all half my family are the color of this table. You know what I'm saying? Like even darker, like a bag of Maltesers, and I'm like the inside of a Malteser. So, but the thing is, this is what's so nuts, bro, is that today, like the way that white people are now the minority, and you're not cool if you're not mixed race, is the weirdest thing. Like in my generation growing up, it was the absolute opposite, which is why I just see all through it. Like if you were mixed race then, especially in this town, I'll give you an example right now. So I was always good at football. I was playing football in the park, and I've never told this story. I forgot it even happened. This is just how fucking mad this town was, right? So you go to and this is a mad thing. So look, I'm in this park here and playing football, and this woman, my dad was there. Yeah, so my dad came to this game, and at the end of it, like obviously go up to him and like we go to walk off together. This fucking woman, like this like real like. But it's weird, like saying white now, isn't it? It's like it's become a trigger word. But she was like proper, white, like just white to her core, white. Like her personality was white. Like Karen. I'm not even talking about her skin. Like when I say white, it was her personality. She was like a white personality woman comes over, and she's like, she bless her, like she's what's so funny about people call them NPCs or whatever, people that can't think for themselves and just idiots. They often think they're doing the right thing, which is why it's hilarious. She comes over to me and she puts her arm around me, so I'm there like looking at my dad, and I feel this sensation over my arm. I'm like, what in the fuck? And I look round, and this woman's like, it's okay to shh. And she's going like that. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, are you all right? Like, because someone dad's like, what are you doing? Like, you okay? And she's like, look, and she's like trying to whisper to me, so my dad can't. And she's like, just come away, like away from this man, and we're gonna get you, like, get you safe or whatever. She said. She literally thought that I was getting basically like taken by a foreigner, because she had never seen like a white kid with a dark parent. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, because I don't look like them.
She thought you were getting.
It's like what we were talking about yesterday, subtle racism.
Right, there's subtle racism, then there's
whatever
that's
is.
Like that's the bridge between subtle racism and just overt fucking.
But it's a 10 prestige subtle racism,
master level racism.
That's the unlockable camo racism.
She's like, oh, this white kid is getting stolen.
She thought I was gonna get my kidney taken. Yeah, I swear to God. So. That's what I'm saying. Like at that young age, it was just like, what the fuck's going on? Like nothing really made sense. So I think that's kind of why I become quite perceptive. Is just even having that biracial lens, you see the world through two completely opposite views. Like, and then my mum's side of the family were like, when you're Romeo and Juliet's actually kind of a good story, because it shows what not to do. People think it's like it's been romanticized into this positive thing, but the actual, if you're smart and you're based, you realize like that's a manual of how not to fucking have relationships. Like, don't step outside your creed. Like, don't fucking mix and 100%. Match and shit like that. It's actually retarded. Like, people like to go, oh, love knows no boundaries, and like true love conquers all. It's like the concept of love does. Caring about what you care about absolutely gets you through the madness, and it's like it should be the basis of your creed. But the idea that you can just violate all forms of common sense and evolutionary principles that create infrastructure and stability within a society it's so fucking nonsense. It's just feminine nonsense. So like my point is that like this lens that I've got now, like sorry to finish that point, the white family doesn't like the brown family and vice versa, because even if they want to, they can't understand each other. I didn't understand my grandparents. I couldn't speak to them because they didn't speak English, and I didn't speak. I learned a little bit of like Farsi, but not that much. Do you get what I'm saying? So I didn't often know what the fuck was going on in like the brown side, and then I'll go to the white side and they're like, oh, how's it over in like Browntown or whatever, and you're just like, you're there just like, well, what the fuck am I? These brown guys are calling me white boy. Like these white guys are going like, you're fucking Ranjit or whatever, and you're just I'm being told that my dad's not my dad, and I'm getting taken away like behind a tree by this like white woman. Like, what the fuck's going on? So that's kind of the basis of like having a deeper lens, is like you're forced to kind of like
See both sides.
Yeah, and I just think people that have got like instability growing up, whether it's financial, whether it's ethnic, whether it's whatever, like when you're forced to question your position in the world early on, you develop the muscle of perception. And I genuinely believe perception is the most valuable skill you can develop. And like through martial arts in our case, but just whatever your thing is in life, like your ability just to see past nonsense and like see stage 3, 4, 5, and 6 versus just stage 1, which is what everyone's done. They just told a thing, okay, that's the thing, I'll just go on with the thing. And it's like, nah, like always look deeper in it. So that's kind of how I got, that was the basis of it. Like in terms of
Yeah. To go off perception is insane because I feel like I'm rather perceptive, but that you showed me that I'm basically not because I'm sitting there.
That should be your ring name for your fight. Pierre, rather perceptive.
Son of Lebanon, mystic whisperer, rather perceptive, casual. Kind
on your business card, Mr. Rather Perceptive.
Kind of rather perceptive a little bit, tends to perceive things. But I'm talking about we're in the gym and literally, like you're tensing up and like your chin, exceeding your chin, and then that's because your background was this. I'm like, whoo, I haven't told him anything about my background.
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it just came out.
Sees your sins.
Jedi master. Jedi master.
So you can see anxiety in people's jaw. People's jaw. So what happens is that because anxiety is a biological state, right? People think it's. I used to think this. That it's like kind of a choice. It's like a choice to a response to something. It's like, oh, don't be a bitch, basically. Don't be anxious. Anxiety is literally a biological state. So it's where you have like a chronic or an acute that becomes chronic fight or flight response, which for anyone that doesn't know is basically there's 2 states that you can be in biologically as determined like via your nervous system, right? Which is fight or flight, rest and digest. Like there's nuances to that, but those are generally the 2 states. And evolutionary speaking, you would need the fight or flight, which involves like hormonal activation from the adrenals that stimulate the brain to turn on in a certain way and activate the body in a way that is more conducive to success in hunting, right? And just and going out into the wild, hunting for food, staying alert against threats, coming back, cooking the food, and then once you eat the food, you go into rest and digest. i.e. you're chilling out after the hunt, after the fight and the flight, like killing shit and then running away, and you come and chill out again and you get to eat, i.e. digest and rest, go to sleep, fuck your cave woman, and then life's good, and then just rinse and repeat it, right?
Yeah.
So there was a reason that we've got these 2 states, and when you're in hyperactive fight or flight, which can happen for tons of different reasons, it's basically anxiety. But the thing is, that state, people that are in more that do have anxiety, i.e. elevated fight or flight, they excel in certain jobs. Like there's certain situations that's a superpower to have it. And a lot of that is you see this in school with kids with like ADHD and kids with like bipolar disorder or like hypersensitivity and stuff. They often become like musicians or comics or like in my case, like teachers and stuff, like you because you're just so on and you can respond and the way that you have like dopamine dysregulation and the way that your brain works is it just works differently. It works at like a much more intense frequency, but it can't last for as long. So the point is that when you're put in an environment where fight or flight is no longer required, which is like post-industrial revolution, when you start inventing like printing presses and factory work, like, and people start, you got these lizards that are like systemizing and commoditizing humans, and it's like everyone, if you don't become a cog in our machine so we can profit off of your life, then fuck you basically. We're going to demonize you, tell all the teachers that you're misbehaving, tell you that you're like wrong and you don't fit into society, and we're going to label it with something like bipolar or ADHD or something like this. So only in the West is that like considered a bad thing. In like rainforest and that, and in like Africa, they're considered shamanic. In like Tibet, you can become the Dalai Lama if you've got these types of neural imbalances or whatever you want to call them. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, look, if I've gone on too much of a tangent, is that fight or flight response, that biological response, it affects your body, right? Obviously, so that hormonal system, the endocrine response of fight or flight, the cortisol, the intense dopamine rush, all of that kind of thing. The breathing is the thing that I noticed in you. So it affects your ability to breathe deeply from the diaphragm, which is best done through the nose. So people that are relaxed and are not in fight or flight, they're not in fight or flight, they naturally take longer, slower breaths, which means they often use their nose, or they've got like a more relaxed jaw. People that are tense, they breathe in their chest because they're in fight or flight. So they use this upper body titty breathing in their chest like that. Yeah. And their jaw gets tense because they don't need to take in as much oxygen because they're relying on like hormonal activation. So they're like they're doing everything on leverage basis, like trading on leverage versus like just chilling out and just staying relaxed. So when I see it in the jaw and the jaw tense, and I'm like, oh cool, he's got anxiety for And then I just said it, and then obviously
Yeah.
you told me what you told me. So
Yeah, I mean, you put me in the gym, give me a bunch of movements I'm not comfortable with, and then tell me certain things, and I'm just like, because I'm always wanting to perform. I'm the type of person I want to be looked at as I'm at my best all the time, and that could be a flaw.
Can I
100%.
So that's what's so interesting. This is what I want to say is that, and then so my brain extrapolates that, and I'm like, okay, so as I'm making that judgment, which I know to be correct, I'm then immediately, as I'm teaching you, thinking, all right, so why would he be in that state? Well, he's got this Middle Eastern thing, so I know that he would have been through these similar upbringings that I've had. So I'm like, and then he's also only responding in this fight or flight tense way when I give him a new task. Inevitably, he's not going to get the task right because he's never done it before. However, he's not been taught how to be grateful for getting something wrong and alchemizing that into value. So like, that's the thing that he actually needs right here. It's not that you're wrong or you've got anxiety or you can't learn or is anything like that. It's just you've just been conditioned through other people and eventually yourself, where you've allowed it to become your norm, where you judge yourself for not getting something wrong. So all you need is a mental reframe and go, okay, well, actually, this is absolutely part of the journey. Like, I'm very grateful I'm getting this wrong because it means, guess what? I now get to get it right. Great.
100%.
So let's then anchor that into, so like an NLP concept here, where you anchor the physical into the neurological. So if you're trying to teach, and this is where most teachers just fuck it up, they don't understand the connection between physicality and skill development, which is, so the immediate example is the army, right? Why is it that soldiers get broken physically before they get programmed? You will swear allegiance to whatever. Like, you have to go on your 10-mile run at 3 a.m. first for a whole week. Do you know what I mean? You don't get food, you get battered, you have to do boxing. Like, it's only when you break yourself physically and you put your brain into like a theta wave state or like a delta wave state versus alpha, which you become more programmable, and that happens through exercise. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, as we're doing the exercise, I'm very aware that I'm like, all right, cool, let's use this brainwave state to repattern a new mindset, which is a new relationship to learning. So it's not pressure, it's not compressive, where if you get something wrong, fuck you, you need to get it right, and we're going to try and beat it into you, which is what I'm assuming you had, which is what I described earlier. Actually, it's compassion. It's like, look, this is great, so that you can implement this skill better and download it better, try breathing in this way. And then that also, so it mentally gives you an anchor. Like, every time you try something, take a deep breath. All right, cool. But on the secondary level, that's literally giving you the fix you need, which is deactivating that fight or flight, which is putting you into a relaxed state, so you get better at learning. So it becomes meta.
Right.
Kind of builds on top of itself.
Positive
You get what I'm
feedback.
saying? Yeah.
And that's crazy too. I don't want to glance over this part that we were talking about before, because it's actually crazy. And T has a tweet about this that's also a banger. It's like these mental illnesses that are actually just adaptive, like they're like adaptive advantages is the word.
Good time.
That your like lineage, let's say your bloodline or just the genetics that you were given, those are adaptive advantages that you had to be better, to perform better. And sometimes you might have like a kingly response to something, but in today's society, it's just a plebeian like trait, let's say. And he has this tweet about it, which basically like Genghis Khan would have popped for these 50 mental illnesses, and it's like narcissism.
No, it's like if Genghis Khan went to blue-haired fucking dyke shrink or whatever, like, so I should say, if this, it's like, we need to conquer Europe, I can't sit still. It's like, oh, ADHD, all this shit, right?
Yeah.
It's
like, narcissism.
It's like 50
there,
different fucking acronyms.
Bro, it's literally like an essay. It's literally like an
when
essay,
you put
but it's
it
a
in
tweet.
modern day context, like, it just doesn't fit.
It's a tweet like wants to punish his enemies. Oh, he's psychopathic disorders. Everything.
Oppositional defiance disorder.
Yeah. And it's like they're basically
grandiose
labeling,
narcissism.
they're labeling every reason why you wouldn't fit into a certain mold and calling it a mental illness.
But even one of the buzzwords that's thrown around nowadays is like narcissist. Like, oh, you're a narcissist. Like, if you don't have like a tiny healthy bit of narcissism, like, what the fuck are you doing?
I think that's the best spell that they come up with.
100%.
Something that I love doing, So this is a really good concept in war, and when you're fighting, is respect your enemy, innit? So if you don't consider your enemy, then all right, let me put it like this. If you're fighting someone, it's because you respect them. If you've got an enemy, if you've got someone that you frame, this guy is my enemy, you have to respect them. Because if you don't, they wouldn't be your enemy. Like, if a toddler came and just punched you in the leg, you wouldn't go, that's my fucking enemy. I want to go and learn a spinning back kick and then try it again, you little cunt. Like, nah, you're just going to be like, that's cute. Like, because there's no threat to you. It's only if Tom come and punch me, I'd be like, oh, fuck this guy, because I consider him a threat. So for that reason, you have to respect them, because they're on your level. Do you get what I mean? If you don't respect your enemy, you don't respect yourself. An enemy, by definition, is someone that opposes you on your level. So I have to respect you because I respect myself. You get what I'm saying? So something I do with that being said is I look at all these and we can get onto like the whole come back to that bullying thing and like 9/11 and stuff, which is people talk about their awakening and stuff. Like I've had this my whole life, but it's been interesting watching people's responses to COVID and stuff like that, and like modern day social engineering, because they freak out and they get angry, but they're in their sort of, you know the whole thing with like adaptations to technology, like early adapter and middle adapter, and late adapter
laggards.
It's the same sort of thing. Yeah. It's the same sort of thing with responding, with becoming awake. There's like stages of awareness, right? And a lot of like, and this is where you can get into the esoteric, like new souls and old souls and reincarnation and stuff, and people that have just known for longer. But newer souls that have only recently woken up, they're in a stage of anger right now. They're like, right, like look how bait it is that the world is fucked and like people is getting manipulated like they are. Isn't this the worst thing ever? And they get emotional about it. You get to a certain point where you look at it completely objectively, like it's supposed to be, we need bad, like as above, so below. We need bad so that we know good. Like we need an enemy to keep us, like your enemy helps you grow more than your fucking girlfriend ever will, more than your friends ever will. It's through the pain of like having confrontation that
it's funny you say that, because of COVID, which is like a horrendous part in everyone's life. Like I was like, shit, I need to like up myself in so many other ways, and now like I'm fucking living in Bali. I met all these guys.
So this is my whole point, is that when you start realizing, all right, we have absolutely a common enemy. I'm gonna start calling it like fucking charades or something, but like every time I want to make instead of saying
the
the
tunnel
word,
dwellers,
like,
the APR, fuck
but
yeah,
the
banking tribe.
we've got an enemy, innit? We've got a common tribe that is against all of us, and when you realize that, and you just don't judge it, and you go, this is great, I'm supposed to, because I'm a strong man myself. I need someone to oppose me, otherwise I wouldn't be a strong man. I'd just be like a spoiled guy sitting around having whatever they want. I'd be a fat prince doing nothing. You want like a strong righteous leader, like leads from the front, or at least has the experience of having been in combat. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, my point is don't judge it. So with what you were saying about the narcissism thing, something that I like doing is collecting the tactics they use. So one of them is like spell casting. So like we said with the name thing, like people think wizards are made up. Everyone is a wizard. That's what I don't get. I call myself a wizard all the time and say only real wizards get this. Everyone's a fucking wizard because you use words. You get what I'm saying? Like words. And the basis of what I'm saying here is, you know, Emoto, the Japanese guy that came up with that study about water. Did you ever see this?
No.
All right, I need to pause myself. I've gone too many tangents. Peg that, and I'll come back to Emoto and how wizards are, how you are a wizard. I'll literally, I can guarantee you, I will convince you that you're a wizard by the end of this. You're gonna be walking around like
convinced already, bro. Your word is law as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So I'll come back to that. But like the point is, is they know this. They understand that when you can get a population repeating the same spells over and over again, whether it's on a billboard, whether they say it, whether you say it ironically, whether you say it as a joke, as satire, just saying the fucking thing makes it real. Your thoughts make words, and words make reality. So when they say stuff like, it's okay to not be okay is like such a good one, because everyone in my town said it, and which is why everyone's fucking miserable. They're broke. They're suicide. Like so many people kill themselves.
That's
in my
insane.
Town. So many people. It's such a good spell though. So I used to get angry by it. Whereas instead of meeting fire with fire and meeting it with rage and lower vibration, which is what they want, you meet it with love and compassion. You go, hey, I love that. I'm grateful. Good job. Well done. Now watch me beat it. Do you get what I mean? So the narcissism thing's a really interesting one, because it's like a whole nother tangent again about is ego good or bad, but
we're on it.
But no, run it. I love this topic.
All right. Look, so ego, I think, so misunderstood because it's so powerful, and power's not really good or bad. It just is. But people judge it as bad because no one knows how to use their power of the ego, right? So it's like giving a kid a lightsaber. You give a kid like an Uzi or something, she's gonna fucking cause damage. It doesn't mean the Uzi's bad. It just means it was in the wrong hand. And then you demonize the Uzi, and now no one wants an Uzi. But it's not about the Uzi. It's about what are you doing with it. It's the
crazy
same
analogy.
It's the same with the ego, right? So we've got this beautiful weapon, which is the ego, which can absolutely build, elevate, and say it's synonymous with testosterone. So ego is the spiritual, testosterone is the biological, and both of them are getting demonized and confused, because when they're understood, they're this incredible weapon that builds and protects society and values. You know what I mean? And provides safety and peace, which is what life's about, right? It's about establishing peace and just existing and creating symbiotic harmony, homeostasis, like nature. You know what I'm saying? Like rainforests don't beef each other. You're not getting trees like fighting each other in the Amazon. So that's, in my opinion, what everything's about. So they realized that the fundamental building block of homeostasis, symbiosis, and peace in society is warrior class men. Like it's our ego and our spirit, because we resist evil. We then use that to follow our passion and overcome obstacles, and then we use it to protect. You know what I'm saying? So step 2 is like overcome obstacles and build. So we overcome evil, like we defend ourselves, going back to that fight or flight thing. We defend the threats of like nature, of fucking weather, of tigers, of other tribes and shit. we then think, all right, cool, we've defended a good job. Now let's build. Like, what do we all want? We establish what like our cause and our creed. Let's build. Let's use that fighting energy and fighting and ego and whether it's built, it's all from a place of passion, because passion is just love and anger. That's what passion is, the equation, right? So use the passion to defend and then to build and go, I think this is best for our community and for our family and stuff and for our lineage and our future dynasties and stuff. This will honor our ancestors. Let's build this society. And then through the rhythms of life, you're going to come and get it tested. All right, back to fighting again. Let's use that passion and direct it into warriorship this time. So that's what creates symbiosis. You get what I mean? And then you put that to the side and you put that passion into love and you go, hey, guess what, kids? Like, today we're going to go run up a mountain. Like, oh, my wife, I love you so much. Let me like fucking blow your back out. Like, it's you're using your passion as a man to maintain order in it. And it's like, hey, like, watch out. Don't do that. I'm going to hit you. Like, I'm not scared. Like, don't test me. Do you know what I mean? You establish yourself. Look at animals. Animals do this perfectly, right? Of which we are supposed to be. So uncorrupted animals without a certain religion. Anyway, my point is, they knew that. So they thought, okay, if we, oh, and by the way, so when you have that, when you have all the men that understand that, because they were taught that by their dads, they had the elders going, hey, guess what, son, you're a very powerful man. You come from this dynasty. Here's the skills that we've used to create the society we all respect and love so much. Here's why you're going to have a good family. Here's why your wife's going to love you. Like, here's what your duties are. This is all Bushido, which is the way of the warrior, right? Like, every society had a warrior's code, which had tenets. It had like Knights Templar, like Vikings had one, like there's like Mujahideen have it, like Taliban have it, all of them have it. And it's underpinned by this energy, this ego and this testosterone and this willingness to use it that makes you a competent man so that you can create a competent society. So what they did is start spell casting on it simultaneously whilst attacking the biology, which we'll come on to, like the environmental devastation of like toxins, of GMO food, of all this shit, non-competitiveness. Like there's loads of ways they actually attack the biology, but it starts with the spiritual, right? Well, it doesn't start, they're symbiotic, but let me rephrase that. It didn't start with the spiritual. It's happening together. So as whilst they're feeding you shit, they're also demonizing your desire, your innate fucking God-given desire. And this is why it's satanic, because it's given by God. There's a fucking reason. You can go on like Reddit or Twitter or whatever, and you'll see post of like these screenshots where like mums is going, we've tried so hard to raise our kids gender neutral and I'm heartbroken because today my 4-year-old chose the Barbie. She chose the Barbie and my son just can't help but play with the fire trucks and we're trying everything we can. Has any other non-binary parents got any advice? And you're going, this is satanic, because you're actually like, kids is the closest thing to God. Like I said earlier, they're the truth and the teacher. So if you just listen to them, they'll tell you what's what, innit? So the fact that kids is telling you, and you've got these Satanists that are saying, no, we're actually going to reverse the natural order of things. It's like you're going out to a waterfall and shouting at it for dropping water. It's like, oh, water, go upwards. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's gravity and it's water and it's a waterfall. Like, are you insane? It's the same thing that's happening now. And it's actually comical that we're even at a point discussing this. But my point is, sorry, to kill my tangents, my point is, I'm not sorry, I'm a G. This is genius. So look, here's the thing. Check yourself in it. That's another good point. Become your own teacher. Like, check yourself. Just like you with the breathing. So, yeah, my point is with the narcissism thing, that was a massive one for me. So this town, going back to this town, it's a fully feminist town, right? I was told, like, don't assume God's gender. I was told girls and boys are 100% the same thing. So a funny story there. I got punched by a girl one time. She literally licked my head. Like I was trying to
fucking check hook.
No, I did. She yeah, in it. So I was like 10. She hit me hard, bruv. Like she fully clocked me. I just had my instinct, just went boom, like just for the sleekest uppercut, right? It was actually customato level, like fucking check, boom, like that. And she was just I was so small, but I was like 3'6". Like I was weighed like 20 kilos. So I didn't really do anything. It looked sick. It would have made a good gif. But the thing is, she didn't even get hurt. This was funny. She didn't even get in pain. She was like, you just hit me. And I saw it in that moment. She chose to cry. Yeah. She looked at me like that and she went,
I know.
And she had this little smile and she went, what's this? And she went, her like that, and she was a drama girl as well.
If you've got a little brother, you know.
It was so good. She was a drama girl, so she knew how to turn it on. I had these big kids came and fucking threw me against the wall. Like, you beating up girls? I was like, what the fuck? She punched me in the face. But anyway, so that's the kind of environment. Like men and women are the same. Like all this white, like just absolute nonsense. And like real feminist. And also this comes onto it as well. Like my male role models were cut hard, like hard cut, like. You know, Patrice O'Neill, his whole career is spent talking about and laughing and mocking and highlighting the type of marriages that I grew up templating on. You get what I'm saying? So like, I was told, so like I got hit quite a lot. My dad would literally say to me, fit in more, stop trying to get attention, you're not that special. Like just the worst spells, like you're no one, innit? Like just for his own reasons, which was like racially, because he was an immigrant, so he used to get beaten up for being like the wrong color. So his survival was just like fit in and try not to. Whereas mine is like, fuck that, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take you all with me type thing. So that's like extrovert versus introvert type response. so actually, not really. That's not even extrovert or introvert. That's just being a bitch versus being a G. Yeah. It's not even about personality. It's just about being a pussyhole. So and this comes on to all the lessons that I've learned, is that, so I was being told that, and he would call me that. He would say, you know, you're really turning into a narcissist. You're really turning into a horrible person, X and Y, because he's a really new soul. Like, he's proper slave-minded. Like, he'll listen to the TV saying, you know, men, you should really listen to your wife, because happy wife, happy life. Like, he tried telling me that when I was young. He was like, you know, there's an expression that you should really understand, which is happy wife, happy, he's saying completely unironically. Yeah. He tried to tell me happy wife, happy life. So this is what I'm saying. They cuck everyone generationally. They try and get the elders, they program them, and then they then pass that on. You get this generational faggotry, like just fractal dickheadery, where it's just
fractal dickheadery is a banger bar.
Yeah, it's just getting passed down. So, and it takes people like us just to go, you know what, like fuck this, innit? Like, and actually realize what's going on, which is that ego, that warriorship's getting it's getting removed. It's like you go into the back end of a website and just remove a bit of code, and the whole thing just stops working.
I think even on like a more fucked level, I think like the fucking vaccines are actually like taking out genes in us. Like there's gene editing going on there in the background. Like
100%.
They're not just doing it on a cultural fucking.
That's what I'm saying. Biological and spiritual together. It's both.
Through the food, through the fucking vaccines, whatever.
No, it's a really good point.
That's that two-pronged attack is coming from spiritual and biological. And the crazy part is, like, there is some truth in the fact of, like, you don't want to let your ego run rampant, but the simple truth is, the ego is part of your existence in this plane, right? Like, it's part of you. You're not going to be egoless unless you transcend this reality. And
everything that we have is there for a reason. We have an ego. Yeah, sure. It's there for a reason. Like, we don't remove it. Like,
yeah.
You're trying to, like, we're talking about martial arts, right? You're coaching us. We're looking at certain people. I mean, how big are these fucking egos? Like you've trained with McGregor before. I mean, fucking ego on that motherfucker. He trained with me,
but
he trained with you. Fuck's sake. See, I didn't even know. Tyson, whatever. We just brought up Customato. These are fucking the biggest, most powerful egos in the world ever.
All right. Look, so this is the original point, right? Which is, it's so misunderstood, and this is where my heart hurts, because I see these young guys, like, they're trying to fight back. They're going, I won't be cucked. I'm not going to be told that I'm wrong for existing. Like you said, I have this thing for a reason. It's actually a beautiful thing, but they don't fully understand the purpose of it, in my opinion, which is, it's a self-preservation tool, your ego, right? That's all it's for. It's a survival mechanism. It's not the truth. The truth is to understand it and then ultimately transcend it. In my opinion, it's just to metaphorically sit under a tree until you just dissolve into the astral plane. Like, there's gurus out there that just sit there and just choose when to die. They just go, right, see you later, humans. I'm now going into the 4D. I'm ready for the Tesseract. That shit exists. So whether you want to do that or not, it's up to you. But just metaphorically, it's about just becoming, in my opinion, the purpose of life is just ultimate self-awareness. It's just, can I become so self-aware I just literally transcend? I can levitate, I can float, I can do whatever. So with what you're saying, that's the stage where, like, the kind of juvenile response, like the teenage response of being like, you know what, fuck this. I'm not going to be told to be a bitch, happy wife, happy life, like, fuck off type thing, which is what I spent in my 20s, taking drugs, being miserable, going around just fighting everyone. Like, I was pissed off. I was like, I've been fed a lie. This is bollocks. Like, I'm a fighter. Like, I've got potential. I've got this craving in me to be great. Like, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to be told that I'm a narcissist for caring about my own success. Are you mental? Like, no. And all the rest of it. But then it gets to a point where you start realizing, calibrating into your ego. So Mike Tyson's a great example. You mentioned Customato. Just calibrating into your ego and letting that steer you. It's never ever going to give you inner peace.
Right.
It's never going to give you inner peace. Like, it's going to get you stuff. It will get stuff done. That stuff doesn't fulfill you, though, because it's external. It's got to come from within. You know what I mean? Your ego should be there to, like we said, fight or flight. It should get you through a particular situation. So you get from point A to point B, and then at point B, you can then do your actual work of working out, like, who am I and what do I need to achieve? But then if you get to point B and you go, that was great, I'm going to keep doing that. And then you just go on, like, this crazy path of, like, it's basically lower self. Of what?
Like, you're just burning things. Consumerism. Like,
it's acidic. Everything's dualistic. The universe is dualistic. So your ego is, like, kind of acidic to an extent. It's like, I'm going to just burn through stuff. I'm going to truncate through stuff. I'm going to fight. I'm going to survive. I'm going to be passionate in this way. But you need the yin with it, innit? Like, that's all very, oh, mate. Yeah, that's all
The
like
polarity.
Yeah, that's all like hella acidic. You need the alkalinity to go with it to balance it
Yeah.
out, which comes from like putting ego to the side. So, in my opinion, the strongest guys are the ones the most inspiring guys to me are the ones that can go turn up, like do all this acidic stuff, like all this war stuff, and fight and make stuff happen and perform. But then they just come back to their family like, hey, I'm cool. Like,
I was telling this to Tom because you're the perfect example of that, actually, at least that we know. Because you have these people that walk this super spiritual path and then don't have this ego. Like they're just
and they're frauds, bruv. They're
spiritual,
dickheads,
lyrical, fucking
pricks.
meditate
They're
all the
rapists,
day.
all of them. They're
vegan,
literally molesters. Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so
they're men that run yoga groups for women.
that's exactly the
Wrongers,
archetype.
yeah.
These people are on Twitter, by the way. And I'm looking at the fucking camera. All right, these people are on Twitter. They're
But I'm
probably
looking
what?
at you in your fucking eyes.
You
That's
know
one
what
of
I mean?
you. I know exactly what you are. You're a predator. You're a scumbag. You're
When
a
you
coward.
add the fucking warrior spirit with that and then the warrior path, it becomes humongous because you can take both ways, but it's just like walking the warrior path is just much more fulfilling and you'll know if it's for you based on the tools that you've been given, right? Like some people, you speak about Bushido a lot. I have a book actually. I brought it with me and I didn't read it. It's with me now in this room with us in my bag. But it's like you can go through and have all these experiences and along with it comes a bunch of action. And now with that, you have stories. Now you take these stories and extrapolate it to the people that follow you.
Sure.
Or, you're the person that literally just starts your life sitting under a tree. But they tell you that this is more honorable than this one. And so they try to value this. And I won't say who.
Say it.
the long-nosed bankers. And then it just ends up people decaying and being harmless and stuff like this. But in the reality, even the most enlightened teachers in the world, you have Jesus Christ, whatever, these weren't nice people. Sure, they were kind, and they're kind insofar they tell you how to get to the next level, how to transcend reality, how to escape hell, let's say. But they're not nice, right? Nice is to be like, oh, it's okay, Tom.
Sure.
You can pen methamphetamines for 2 days. It's fine. You'll just get over it one day. Nah, kindness is me telling you, nah, it's fucking stupid. Yeah. And then, obviously, when people get stuff right, you pat them on the back for that, right? So it's very important. You don't actually understand that unless you have sustained punishment, and that could be martial arts, that could be going through the ringer, growing up, that could be both. But if you're just taking this extremely pacifist, like hermit path since you're a fucking kid, you just decay into like
reading books.
You walk outside, the sun will fucking burn you and you'll die. Like I don't know. That's how I see. Walking through my life, I was forced into a lot of confrontational things. I never really liked confrontation, and then I just started loving it. Yeah. And it's just funny as everything is representative of martial arts. Everything. When we train with Raz, it's like he's not giving you a concept and saying, this is how you hurt the other guy. He's like, no, this is how you hurt the other guy and make your life better and become stronger and therefore transcend this and this and that. And that's why it hits so well. It's like top-down approach. I want to ask you a question. So you're this teacher, probably the best teacher that I know as of right now, if we're going to just be honest about it. What do you do to teach yourself? Because you're at this part and you're at no means the end of your journey or your fucking beginning, actually. You said that to me the other day.
Every day. Wake up. It's a new beginning.
So like, I don't know. It's like I'm taking a quantum leap training with you. How would you take your next quantum leap? You're finding teachers. Is there a certain way you go about this to kind of just like, let's say, leap to the next level?
That's a really good question. Really good question. So, teaching and learning is the same thing. It's absolutely the same thing, which is so fascinating about children. I go back to them. Children are in a state of learning all the time. But guess what? If adults paid attention, they'd learn so much from children. So I'll give you an example, actually. I want to shout out my teacher. So he's a special forces captain, right, in the 80s. And he told me that when he got given his new team, so he's got, 10? No, it was 6. He had 6 of, like, the most alpha capable men on planet Earth, right? If you know anything about special forces, you understand these are the men. Like, you want to talk about masculinity, these are them, right? He's leading them. So he's giving these new guys, they're like 20 or whatever. And and he said, on their first day, they went to a play group and they got told by their senior guy, you're going to spend the day learning from these. And they were like, who? What? And they said, them. And there's the fucking kids running around. And they said, watch them. And the teacher, they got them to line up, like the children to hold hands and line up. And the guy went up to the teacher, and this was in like another country where you can kind of get away with this, but he got the teacher to push one of the kids over and they all fell down like dominoes. And he said that was a lesson that kept them alive for 10 years in the special forces. When he saw them kids like not let go of each other when they all fell down, and he said the way they played and just the little interactions and nuances of like how are you? Like, are you okay? Like, and what kind of triggered them, and just all the little details, because kids are just so truthful and honest and raw. Like in that moment, they're so unfiltered, and they're present is the point. Is the point here, which I want to come on to. Like, kids are just fucking present. They haven't been taken out of their presence yet. Going on to spells, I'm gonna keep referencing these spells. So we've mentioned narcissism, we've mentioned nice, happy wife, happy life. Another one is what do you want to be when you're older? That to me is one of the most powerfully satanic spells you can put on a child, curses rather, you can put on a child, because they go, oh. Anytime you get someone doing that, they're out of the present, which is what you want to do in fighting. I was teaching you this earlier. You want to get someone to do that.
Bro. That spell was cast on me a trillion gazillion times, bro.
Why do you think that is? They repeat it over and over. What do you want to be when you're older? You literally sit there and do career progression and shit, and you sit there. I don't give a fuck about when I'm older. Age is a myth. Time doesn't exist. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? That's why we love fighting. So I'm just fucking here right now. I don't give a shit. So that's why they just take kids out of the present, and that's what they do to adults, and they keep them out of the present, which is when adults die. That's when
you're 65, you might be able to retire. And
what I'm saying. That's the whole basis of people die at 20 and buried at 70. It's when they leave the presence of being 20. Because people when they're 20, they're partying, they don't give a fuck, and they go, come on, you got to grow up now. Time to get a job. Okay, I'm out of the present. Do you know what I'm saying? So to come back to what we're saying, I've got a.
What's the spell?
There's a concept that I have, right, called, how do I even begin this? All right, look, first of all, you got to understand where you are in life. Like in the hero's journey, and in just ages in nature, you have different things happen at different ages, right? You were like 0 to 10, like 10 to 20, like 20 to 30. There's like different life stages, which is like astrological almost. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, time's not real and stuff, and it's not. But also there are like rhythms in it. You got spring, summer, like you got ebbs and flows of nature. So with that being said, it's like I said, self-awareness for me underpins everything I do. That's the aim. Is just can I become ultimately self-aware? So I'm looking at myself and I'm going, all right, cool. I'm at 30 right now. I've gone through absolute chaos in my 20s, like madness.
We need to link back to that.
We'll come back to that. So I've gone through all these lessons. So right now, do I even need to keep learning right now? I look at myself and I go, where am I good at? Where am I weak at? Like, I've got this ridiculous value. I'm being told in person by people, you're changing my life with everything you teach me. I've been teaching people boxing and shit, and they're like, bruv, like, swear to God, I've never met anyone like you. I can't believe you're not charging more, like all this stuff. And I'm like, I keep hearing this. Yet I'm also unable to afford X, Y, and Z. Like, this is kind of bullshit. Like, what the fuck? So it comes back to truth and presence. I sit there with my breath, which is the second concept I want to come on to, which is you know everything. For anyone that's lost, you do know everything within you. And it's a case of self-discovery. It's a case of realizing, I know what I need to do. Your gut is very powerful. It will tell you. Gut instinct exists for a reason. It's your second brain in Chinese. Like, it's you know everything in there, but you need to come out of fight or flight and sit with it and go, okay, let me just go inside so that I can be guided. Your breath, your inner awareness will just take you in the right direction. So I do that. And I start realizing, all right, cool, you know what? You don't need to learn any more shit right now. Like, the learning is going to come as you now start building business, as you now start just focusing on building an enterprise around what you already know. Because I've always been studious. And in my opinion, studiousness is the most valuable skill anyone can have. We talked about perception earlier. You get that by being studious, knowing how to learn. How do you learn? How do you download concepts? Like, what kind of questions are you asking? Like, your one's a sick one because you're studious. Look at your progress this week. You know what I'm saying? We could overlay some footage of you in the first session today. I promise you, in 5 days, you really improve. So, and that's linked to your questions you just asked. You just asked a sick question. Do you know what I mean? And there's evidence in your physical improvement in fighting. So a studious mind gets results, is my point. So I tap into that studiousness and I go, all right, look, I don't actually need to be studious right now. Like, what I now need to do is I've learned a fuck. Like, I need to now actually commoditize these lessons. Like, I need to actually turn this into something that's scalable value, not just for myself for money, but to help people even more. Like, I've got this potential to actually change the face of human consciousness right now.
Can I just interject for 1 second? You hear this all the time in podcasts with gurus and this and that. They're like, oh, it's not about the money, it's about helping people, all this. But they're all fucking liars. But when you actually say it, I genuinely actually know that it's real. Because you're like, you're like, I don't give a fuck about cars, green cars, flashy this. You're just like, I just have knowledge and I just feel like I actually have to give it to people.
Yeah.
Like, it's like such more of like a authentic angle coming from you as opposed to, like, you know,
it's
the gurus on
it's
Twitter.
An interesting point you're saying because and I'm saying that currently, like, not really with that much. You get what I'm saying? So that's how you kind of know it's true as well. But also another aspect to that is, I said in my video, I said I'm gonna get rich as fuck in the process of doing this whole thing, and I am gonna get rich as fuck because you owe it to the world to have leverage, and that just happens to be coupons. Like, you need this. That happens to money, innit? But you get what I'm saying? Like, you need to have these like Talmudic like receipts. just as leverage. If it was like bits of rocks, then I would say I'm going to get all the rocks. Like, it's not because it comes back to the ego. I'm tying everything together. It's not because I need the money to be fulfilled. It's because I need the money, because I understand that's how I've got this like godly message which transcends me. I don't even really matter, to be honest. What matters is that I've been through a certain journey, which I've been told enough times now by so many different people, like old women, young women, men, fucking everyone at this point. I swear, like, animals are talking to me right now going, you need to propagate what you've learned.
I'm telling you right now as well. I'm saying it too.
Yeah, well, you get what I'm saying? Like, here we are fucking talking about it. So my point is like, I need the money to make that happen at scale. You get what I'm saying? Like, do I really care about it that much? Honestly, like a bit, but I know I get bored of it. Do you know what I mean?
You've already had a mill.
I've had a million before.
You've lived that life. We need to circle back to that because this makes there's no context unless we know your backstory.
All right, do you want to go into...
Just like, fuck it, guys. So you're in Brighton, it's fucking biggest cuck town of all time. Yeah. And then where there's like the hardships on
okay, so I become... All right, so at like 10 years old, 11 years old or something, like 9/11 happened, and everyone in this like gay, weird town just turned. Like, and I saw it overnight. I was too young to explain it. I was actually about 9. I was about 9 actually. And all the neighbors started looking at us differently. Like me and like my cousins and shit like that. Anyone that was just of that creed, and my dad and shit, and like police would just stop me and my dad's like in the street and things like that, and like ask to see bags. And at school I started getting beaten up, people be like, oh, you fucking terrorist did this shit. And I'm like, the thing that got me, I was like, how, and this is how when COVID and shit happened, I was like, well, yeah, obviously, how you don't realize that there's like a whole nother reality that you don't understand, is there's someone controlling all of it, you know? Because I saw it at that age. I was like, if you're telling me yesterday we were fine, and today, because of a fucking talking noisy box, suddenly I'm something else. Like,
you're the enemy now.
There's something at play here, was my conclusion at that age.
At 9, that's an insane insight.
This is it. And I just didn't know how to word it. I was just emotional. I was like, this is just pissing me off more than anything. So I became deeply unhappy. And so yeah, I clocked that early though. I was like, I'm telling you, a lot are getting played here and you don't even know it, because we were cool yesterday and fucking 24 hours later, suddenly you have a whole new worldview because of this fucking screen. Like, are you joking? So like television, innit? So point is, that is where I started realizing, all right, you actually need to fucking fight. Like, this is bullshit. Like, being told like just fit in and be a little faggot. Like, nah, fuck that. Like, so in my teens, I just started learning boxing. And this was against both, like, my parents were like, no, you can't do that. Like, don't want you doing that, all this sort of thing. And I would just do my absolute best. I got, to stop me fighting even more, I had to stay in school from 7 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. every day. I promise you, it's basically abusive. Like, fucking, when we look back on it, it was actually insane. Like, just doing 12 hours of studying all day long. It was such bullshit. And I would try my best to like get home and like run to the boxing class and hit the bag. And anytime I could, I would get back early, and on the weekend would just go and train as much as I could. And as soon as I could at like 18, I was like, fuck this place. I actually saw this guy called Phoenix Jones hit someone with a leg kick in Muay Thai in a street fight. This guy's a psycho. You want to talk about
names? Phoenix.
This guy Phoenix Jones. This is what's interesting. So he's another example. This guy's a fucking fully autist. Like, if you look at him, you'll see why he dresses up as a superhero, and he like goes and does vigilante justice. So he'll see people in the street, and if he sees something wrong, he's a trained MMA fighter. So he'll go, and he's in Washington where you're allowed to fight. So the police will be there. He'll go, hey, I want to ask this guy if we can engage in combat under the law, or whatever.
Mutual combat.
I swear to God, and the police have to monitor it, and they actually have like a fucking boxing match in the street.
That's actually a pretty base law.
It's sick. This is what I'm mentioning now. Yeah. So I saw him hit someone with a low kick, and the guy didn't know what to do. I was like, you telling me I've been boxing thinking that I'm defending myself, but that shit exists. Fuck that. Where do I learn that? And I was like, Thailand. So at like 18, I've been working this sales job in college. And by the way, I get hit up all the time. Oh, I want to train and full time, but I don't have the money. Fucking start working now and just save everything. Just start, innit? Start. There's ways you can fund it along the way, but what I did for 2 years, I was like, I know one day I'm going to just want to leave here and just find a gym and become a Shaolin ninja. So I just did whatever jobs and just saved all of it. And then at 19, sorry, came Thailand, had my first few fights here and stuff. But then, I got injured. So that was this is how I know about the ego, by the way, and like how the ego is not the answer. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I followed that ego, I followed that hero's journey, that call to action. And it was my ego that put me in a ring within 1 month. I was in a stadium in like Bangla in Phuket, in front of like however many fucking people, like 1,000 people saying, on this sold out event. It was a really big show for some reason. And I think it was like a king's birthday or something like that. And And I'm there just absolutely loving it. Like, and I learned something about myself, which was like, I love pressure. Like,
It's your first fight.
my first pro fight. Yeah, I've been training for like a month, but I had boxing experience. So I didn't really know much about Muay Thai, but I just knew how to throw a hand. So I went in and had this fight, and in that moment, that's what kind of taught me about this. I was like, this feels fucking great. Like, I've really worked hard for this. I've made this happen. I've come over here. I've saved up. I've put the training in. I've got battered in sparring. Like, I almost just got smashed in this fight, but I did really well. Came out feeling absolutely glowing. I was like, this thing I've been told is actually not true. About don't feel proud. Like, don't have an ego and stuff. Like, it does feel good. But then what I learned was that I did that like for a few years and then lost it because I couldn't do it anymore because I got injured. All the traumas of growing up. Oh fuck! I meant to mention, jumping all over the place here, but part of the reason I was so infatuated with fighting was one, getting thrown around because I was tiny as well. I was physically very small in my teenage years in this school, getting beaten up and stuff like that. And also when I was 5, I had quite a traumatic experience in a changing room at the hands of like some daycare people.
Fuck.
I didn't want to bring that up, bro, but that's the fucking craziest shit ever.
Well, I'll say it because I understand that
someone could be going through something.
100%.
Yeah,
this is what I'm saying, but this is trauma's another whole rabbit hole that I can talk about. So these things affect you in such deep ways when you're a child. Like when you're a child, specifically 0 to 7 years old, all humans have brain waves, right? Which is like how the brain pulses. From 0 to 7, you have what's called theta waves, right? Which is where you're most programmable. And that's why kids' brains are like a sponge. They can learn languages. They can just pick anything up. If you teach them to backflip, they can backflip when they're 30. Like they just pick stuff up really quick at that age. So anything negative they get as well, it forms their schema because they don't know anything. I've just got this debate about incarnations and you've got like old souls and stuff. But in the presence now, they don't know anything, which is why they're looking around like, tell me what to think. So if you give them a horrible experience, it's gonna imprint somehow. And if it puts them in fight or flight, which is why I recognize it in other people, that's what put me in fight or flight at quite a young age, combined with some other stuff as well. But that there was always this sense of I'm not safe is what I always had growing up as a result of that. Because I came out of that experience just feeling that I didn't deserve to exist. That was the thing that I got out of it. At like 5 years old, I remember coming out and I'd never had that feeling before. I came out and I was like, I shouldn't be here right now. I didn't know what suicide was or nothing. I was just like, I shouldn't be here because I got made to feel that way, that I didn't deserve existence. And that was compounded by being cucked, innit? Like saying, you don't need it. That's where an ego would have been really useful as a self-defense thing. Because if I'd been told, fuck them, that was nothing. Like, this shit happens, you're a G. And this is why I've reframed it myself. I said, hey, I'm a fucking good looking guy, especially at 5. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the, if I heard that then, or like was empowered to think like that, I've always naturally had that ability because I've got this Leo spirit inside me, but all angles was being told, the cuckery that everyone's getting now 24/7. I had that at an early age, which was like, no, actually you are nothing. Like, do just fit in. Don't just take whatever you're given. Just be a slave, innit? So that's part of the reason that I was signed to fighting as well. I just never felt safe. I was like, I never want to feel like that again where I can't like physically look after myself. So that's kind of what that led. And to anyone that is going through it as well, there's I've in my group and my coaching program, I've got a whole section about how to overcome trauma and PTSD because I've done lots of therapies on it and I've really learned how PTSD works and is stored and can be processed and it is fully possible to overcome.
What is your thoughts on therapy? Because there's a debate around like,
it's really
therapy,
interesting.
it's bullshit.
It's really interesting. So therapy as a concept has been fully solved as well. It's just the term therapy doesn't have to be just sitting talking to like some 30-year-old woman about your problems. Like, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be you admitting you feel like a bitch. It can be loads of things. It can be breathing. It can be martial arts. It can be like walking in nature. It can just be something that helps you overcome something, helps you get clarity on something. To answer you though, so I'll outline the process here, which is for anyone going through anything. And here's the other thing. Don't judge it. You can't judge what you're going through. You don't want to do... I've tried everything, by the way. This is why I know this so well. Like, it's coming from real life experience where you try the reframes where you're like, oh, it's not that bad, or other people have had it worse, or whatever, or I should just forget it, or any of these things. First, it's the same with Alcoholics Anonymous, and I've been a drug addict. So, by the way, all addiction is rooted in trauma, which is another thing. So to overcome drugs and stuff like that, and I was injecting hard drugs like daily, and now I absolutely will not go near them. I don't need to. is, and now I'm like in monster shape. I just knocked someone out the other day in a pro Muay Thai fight. Like I've fully turned it
He
around.
was the champion in that town as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
He just came in his own backyard and
this
fucking...
is what I'm saying. So it's very possible to reverse your situation. Maybe over this, like overlay. Just look at my story, on Insta. Look at the pictures of before and after. Yeah. What I'm about to tell you, just look at the evidence.
Single digit T levels, fat cunt.
This is what I'm saying. It's really, really real, this. So to overcome these traumas, there's a step-by-step process. First, you have to admit it. I'm going to go back to the spell casting. You're a wizard. We need to come back onto why everyone's a wizard. Emoto, remind me. So just say the word emoto, it will trigger. So when you say something, you make it real, right? So it's the same principle as manifestation. If you're someone, right, who believes in manifestation, you're reading the fucking 48 laws and whatever the fuck, law of attraction, all this shit, and you believe in that, then therefore you have to understand the power of admitting something. Because if you want to manifest something and you speak it and you make it real, admit the thing that you're trying to hide. As I'm saying, my throat's closing up because there's still emotion that needs to be processed. I haven't fully done it, but I'm very much better now. I can say what happened now if you want, but it's a bit explicit. So I'm cool. I'm cool saying it. Before, bruv, I would literally I'd do what you did in boxing, which I recognize it. I'd think about it and I'd immediately you'd say something to me, and if I didn't like it, I'd just immediately turn around to you and just try and make some sort of combative thing at you, But that was my denial of it. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas now I'm like, this thing happened. So I'm further. If here is full healing and here is what I just described there, I'm probably like fucking here right now. So, but I still get somatic responses, and I'll come on to why it's important. Again, self-awareness, mind-body connection. So all trauma is stored in the body, right? So basically, so the first thing, is understand this is part of warriorship. And the code, and one of the tenets of most warriors' code is integrity, which is in my opinion, it should include honesty. Like, you need to be honest and self-aware, which is why Patrice O'Neill was great at this. He'd say to someone, "You're lying, you're full of shit. You're lying, listen to your tone of voice." Listen, most people are lying to themselves. Say, "Are you happy?" And they go, "Yeah, I'm happy." Their voice goes up like, "Yeah, life's good." It's like, no, it's not. What do you really want? Like, when did your wife last suck your dick? And oh, well, she's been busy. It's like, what I mean? People are in denial, and this comes to this as well. People go, "It wasn't that bad," because they've tried to. It's from a place of fear. They're going, "Oh, this wasn't that bad," because they're trying to overcome it. Say it for what it was. There came a time where I went, "This fucking happened," and I said it. I was like, "Oh shit, this happened. Like, what the fuck?" And then when you say it, and you can write it down, you can say it in the mirror, you can just say it in the shower, just speak it out, and come to terms with whatever the thing is, whether it's fucking molestation, whether it's anything. It could be like, your dad lost loads of money and it made you feel unsafe at a certain age. It could be like some guy fucking flashed his dog dick at you in the park. Like, it could be anything ridiculous. Like, whatever the thing is, in it. Like, it could be you found out your favorite Teletubby died or something.
You found out Michelle Obama had a dick.
It's where it can get funny, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It could be the funniest thing. But you know what's annoying about this? I'm gonna go home.
The bastard of femininity has a dick.
The best feminist is a man.
But you're talking about cognitive dissonance there, which is traumatic, which is why most people stay enslaved, because they're not ready to awaken, because they get a truth which is, wow, everything I've been told is so upside down, I can't handle that. I go back to clown world. Yeah. Have the bravery to face your thing, which is synonymous.
People can't do it, bro.
We're joking
That's
about
the Matrix.
Here's the thing, we're joking about that shit,
but
it ties into what I'm saying though. So whether it's your personal circumstance going, "Oh, this thing happened to me and it makes me uncomfortable," or whether it's, "Hey, PS, these fucking cunts, these cunts are ruining everything. Yeah. They're controlling your reality and they want you dead. Oh no, I can't accept that. Oh no, I can't accept getting like titty diddled. I can't accept like fucking getting like enslaved from every angle." Like, if you're not going to accept it, you're going to stay enslaved to lower vibrations, whether that's because of something traumatic, because that's a truth about the world, whatever. So it can't, like, warriorship is going, "Hey, guess what? This is uncomfortable. It's making me feel scared. I'm going to admit it. And because of that, I get to be brave. Because of that, I'm going to do whatever is necessary to overcome this thing that's currently holding me back." That is G. So when people say, "Oh, therapy," I see these wankers on Twitter, these 19-year-old kids, these fucking idiots in their 20s going, "Therapy's for dickheads. You just need an ego and money." I'm like, bruv, shut your little mouth.
One thing I say is therapy, which you described, 100% bullshit. Like, how the fuck is some blue-haired feminist going to solve my problems?
Here's the thing. Here's where it comes into. So
therapy, how you described it.
But this is what
even that though, if it was Raz talking to me, and we were going through it, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, bro."
Because I can fucking relate to you. But me sitting on a couch.
Here you go. Here you go. So this is the steps, right? So that was just step one, by the way. So there's 4 steps to this process. So the first step is admission. It's your warrior step. It's like the admission of the thing. It's coming to terms with going, "Yeah, I accept it. hi, my name's SamRaz, I'm an alcoholic. Why does everyone, they have to do that in the 12-step program, because you have to admit it and speak it. Do you get what I'm saying? So the second step is then create, this is such a funny term, safe space. And it's true, they've Jewed that word as well. They've demonized that word. Safe space is a real thing. Like it's your forward operating base. It's where, like, in the military, if you want to make it G, like, you need your fucking your like
Bunker,
foxhole,
barracks.
You get what I'm saying? You need your barracks. So like your safe space becomes, and it's just, they've made this word so gay for this reason, because it stops people healing and becoming strong again. And by the way, this is when you need the ego. It's to go through this stuff. Your ego, like I said, it's power. It can be good or bad. This is how you use it for good and not for bad. The bad response would be what I said before. Remember when I said, oh, you use that fuel, that negative drive to go and achieve loads of stuff to try and escape it. Well, guess what? You've achieved everything. Now what? You still fucking hate women. Now you still, like, can't speak to your own family anymore. Like, there's all these negative coping mechanisms you haven't addressed, just because suddenly you're not speaking to women and hating women from a Lamborghini before you're doing it in a Volvo. Like, it's still in the same negative spaces, in a shinier prison. You get what I'm saying? So the second is the safe space, where you confide in someone. So I find people have always done this with me, because I'm just quite an open, compassionate person. I've always had people tell me stuff. I'm like, well, right, what? Okay. And like, I don't know, I just feel I can share it with you. So you want to find your version of that, which will be, this is where you want to find a therapist. Now, here's where you got to be really careful, because the word therapist, break that into two parts.
The rapist.
Right. They want to rape you of your time, your attention, your resources. They're parasitical. A lot of them that don't have the natural talent, the shamanism, the compassion, the open heart, the fucking connection on a human level, the spiritual connection. They're there because they read a load of fucking books. They want some purpose and to feel good. Everyone's driven by status. So everyone's got an ego. And this is, again, the ego, the pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
They get their fucking sense of purpose because they get a guy paying their money to then justify their existence as the rapist. And they're feeding off this darkness in the room that's going, oh yeah, great. Well,
it's an industry.
This is why I look at them yoga wankers and all these dickheads in like Bali, like, oh yeah, just, you know, like sexual energy and healing and all this shit. I'm just like, bro, you're fucking cunt, because I know it's not authentic. I can tell the difference. And so that's why you've got to be very careful with who you trust in, which is why this can be a very hard process. And my heart fucking bleeds for the people that get manipulated by people claiming to be healers. And
did you get manipulated by people early on? Did you?
No. So, well, not inadvertently. So here it comes into stage 3, right? Which is, so you've understood the concept. So stage 1 is admission. Stage 2, like, speak it, make it real. Stage 2 is find a safe space, which means just get used to speaking it out loud. So stage 1 is speak it to yourself. Stage 2 is speak it out loud. Say it wherever. Say it to a friend, to your fucking dog if you need to. Say it to a tree. Say it to a family member. Say it to, go and pay a counselor. Whether it's a friend or a professional, the counselor is not going to judge you. So you have different levels of therapist. A counselor is someone that just sits there and listen. A priest. What about priest? You know what I mean?
I was about to say
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
You just
got-
read
you
my
got these
mind,
guys.
bro. And it's
Yeah.
literally, you said it the
At the
second
same
I was
time you
saying
think
it.
it. This is what I'm saying,
Because how
bro.
did it, it's like, that's why I feel like all roads point to the same thing, bro. But like salvation in Christianity, confession is a sacrament, and that's that, right?
Yeah,
You confide in your priest.
There you go, but it's truth. You're saying what's real. This is what I'm saying. When you keep it there, it eats you, and it manifests as illness. This is how you get cancer and stuff. Come on to that. So it's how I ended up having kidney failure, by the way. And
That is crazy.
Coming to that. So this is what's interesting. You know, stage 2 is admit it to someone else. Confess, find your own priest, and whatever that is, whether literal or metaphorical. Stage 3 is the modality of healing. So this is how you're now on the treadmill, and you now have to just realize, just like martial arts, just like physiotherapy, you're going to get it wrong, you're going to learn, you're going to move on to the next one, and it's just a step-by-step process now at this point. So stage 3 is finding the modality. This is where you have to be really wary that you're not just getting talk therapy from someone that can't relate. Now, the way you pick the person that's going to give you the correct modality, which means how they're going to administer treatment and the type of therapy you're going to go through, is, in my experience, so I started trying to overcome these PTSD issues and this rage that I was in, and just this fucking sense of just misery and just not deserving to live. But when I think about it, it's mad, because I haven't actually calibrated into this feeling for a long time. I can feel it shifting in my body. It's the first time I spoke about it in a long time.
Yeah.
I was so miserable, fam. Like, I swear to God, like, I spent a long part of my 20s just trying to work out how to just stop existing. I was genuinely the epitome of I don't like saying the word, but genuinely, like, unaliving, or whatever you want to call it. I was so miserable, just in every level. But I was so extroverted and talented, and I was always acting and doing like comedy and fucking all this shit, like proper Tears of the Clown stuff. Do you know what I mean? So absolutely miserable, and that's why we'll come on to like losing fighting and becoming a drug addict, because I lost all my copes. So I followed the ego path, by the way, just to touch on that, where I was following the ego path to try and overcome it, but then every time I lost the thing that the ego gave me, it was like I'm back to square one, which is this pain that I haven't felt. So yeah, in terms of this therapy and finding a modality, I went to hypnotist, I went to NLP people, I went to like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, where they try and rewire your thinking. I went to EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization.
Do you believe they work?
Here's what's really interesting. Guess where I was doing that and who with? It was in that town. I was doing it with literal homosexuals, themselves that were drug addicts, who I couldn't speak really freely with. So I'm doing it with people I didn't connect with on any level. I'm just going through the motions. And like some of them are academic and they're there with all they've ever known in life is, I want to help people, which is noble.
DSM,
there you go. So on the DSM, in terms of therapy, like, do you mind what pronouns I address you by? It's contrived, it's bullshit. Whereas what I learned is that the shamanic healing that you really want is the guys that are healers, like me, they're off center. Like, I'm a fucking Fruit Loop to most people. Like they're guys that just see the world so differently because they understand that everything's bullshit. They know that this whole thing is just made up. It doesn't exist. It's all just a fucking matrix that is just contrived at every step of the way. And to actually heal, you've got to step outside that, which is why these people have calibrated into that and they live righteously in that reality zone of outside the bullshit. So they look a certain way, they are a certain way, they say it as it is. So a good example is I've recently, and this is a practice, it's an ongoing thing. It's like physiotherapy. Don't just go and get a massage when you're injured. Like, you should be maintaining your body as an athlete. You should be like optimizing your health every step of the way. Get blood work done before you get ill. Do you get what I mean? Like, do maintenance. Like, fucking take Sabre before you go low. You get what I'm saying? It's this kind of concept. And it's the same thing with, I call it like spiritual physiotherapy. Like, just go and, you might sit there and go, how can I help you? And you go, you might just sit there for like 10 minutes and you pay for it and you go, actually, I feel this certain way. And you just cleanse anything that's there. You might sit down and go, no, actually, I don't even need to be here. What the fuck am I doing? And just leave. Like, you can, whether that's with a therapist, with a friend, you can cleanse. It's like defragging a RAM, a hard drive on a computer. Do you know what I mean? You're clearing your hard drive and keeping it optimum. So I would try this stuff in a completely wrong environment with absolute dickheads that were never going to help me, that themselves had like, it was just wrong. The whole environment, the vibrations are wrong. I come Thailand, so I started seeing this guy recently, shout out Sky, who's the first thing I said was like, look, fuck this, like X and Y is running the world, and it's actually pissing me off because my whole thing is that I actually get so angry that I can see who's behind this evil. It's like, it's actually stopped me growing in business because I can't stop talking about the content and stuff like that. And
I'm like, willing to be a millionaire instead of a billionaire, but I can say certain things.
But my point is as well, is like, is that negative vibration, you know, the chart of vibration, you have compressive and expansive. I was in a compressive state. I was judging other people. I was like, fuck this guy, he's doing really well, but he's fake. Like, this guy's doing better than me and he's not as good as me. And I was just judging and getting jealous. I was like, what is this? And so I went to see this person. I was like, fuck this and this. And he was like, yeah, I fully get you. Like, and he did. He was like, I've had a similar experience. I really connected with him on a personal level, and this is my biggest advice to anyone.
How did you meet him?
To go through this therapy, bro.
By people will ask that question.
Of course, by following my fucking truth from my heart, which was come out, leave that fucking environment, and come Thailand. You know what I'm saying? I had to come back over here. I came back to
fucking
Thailand.
Inner calling to come.
Mate, you just follow your thing. Your thing might be, no, I need to stay here right now. It's just you, like I said, you have your own inner teacher. It's your breath, it's your inwardness, it's your ability to be present with yourself and listen to yourself. A lot of people don't know how. A lot of people don't even know what they are and who they are and what their own fucking instinct is telling them. You need to refine that skill, because that's where the healing is. That's where you want it. That's the zone you want to exist in. It's the truth of who you are, that self-awareness. So for me, it was like, I'm in this situation and it's bullshit in Brighton, in this town that I was in. I need to get the fuck away from here. Like, I was teaching someone back in England, so I moved to London. Hold on, let me come back onto that, because it's part of the story. We've got two things going on. We're going through the arc. So the way that I'm seeing this, we're going through the arc of my journey, and then we're coming on stories as we're going.
Hell yeah,
like little nuggets, like trees. So we've got the main trunk, which we'll come back to. For now, I just want to finish this therapy thing, which is, you need to connect with someone who politically, socially, like, has a lived life experience. For me, it's a man as well, bruv. I don't need to be taught how to be a man. I never even needed a therapist, by the way. I just needed a dad. You get me? Like, I just needed a solid fucking man at some point in my life to go, you're a fucking bad man, son. Like, go get it. You're great. You're from greatness. I see it in you. Go do it. I had the opposite. I was like, you're fucking nothing. Like, you should just never try it. Like, basically.
When I was a son, I'm gonna fucking, like, you have to be careful of that too, though. You don't want to turn into like a little fucking. You don't want to go too far with that.
Sure.
But life will humble you in that scenario.
You don't want to tell him he's amazing like all the time, but like tell him he's amazing when it's deserved. Like, that was actually sick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my point is, fucking that, like, know what the core of your problem is, and then, but guess what? You might need a woman. It might be like you got fucked up by a man and you don't want to tell another man, so you need a woman space. Like, there's different. I'm just saying, for me, that's what I personally needed. So work out who's best for you, and understand that this process of healing and improving, is a journey. Like, you're uncovering layers upon layers, and then you might fix that one issue. And if it happened years ago and you've had all this time to negatively cope in between, so for me it was when I was 5, and then I've got like 25 years of fucking adaptations that I've got to undo. So even though I've addressed this one thing that was the main thing, there's these other secondary, tertiary layers. Do you get what I'm saying? So it might not be a case of one and done. It might be a case of like, okay, we that leads to this thing, and you've had bad relationships as a result, and here's your response to that, which led to that. And so you're just getting to the root of it and then the question might be, how do you know when you're done? It's just, is your life improving? Are you genuinely becoming more peaceful? That's what it's about for me. I've got less angry, less judgmental, less detached from outcomes. Like for my fight the other week, I literally, the last thing I thought before the bell went, I just went, I literally don't care what happens.
That's actually insane.
I am so grateful to be here, to come through what I've come through and just stand in a ring and do what I love. Alhamdulillah, like, thank you so much. I was just saying thank you over and over. I genuinely didn't give a fuck. I was like, this guy might actually knock me out in one kick. Let him, I don't care. Like, and I never had that before. Before I was like, if I don't win, then I should die. Like, and I lost. But I swear, that's how I live my life, and that's why I see it in you. Like, I literally, I lost one fight when I was 20, and I didn't leave my room for a week. I couldn't speak for a week. It like clammed up my whole body because I was like, well, these feelings are coming back, and if I'm not a champion, then fuck this. Like, it's.
Can I say something? Because this point actually is brought up on the highest level in front of the most people, like, ever. Like, this is a point that's been disseminated amongst literally probably 1 billion people at this point over the last year or two. There's somebody saying, don't get rid of my demons. I want my demons. I wake up, I want more demons. Because if I have more demons, then I can walk in.
Demon maxing.
Bro, literally, bro. They're literally saying, like, why would you pay somebody to get rid of your demons? And, you know, this is actually...
so sick. It's so
stupid.
ill.
Because this is what they don't tell you, right? There's... Because what you just said is transcendental, and that's what everybody should be gunning towards. What they don't tell you is that, yes, but exactly looping back to the ego thing, like, yeah, your ego would have helped here, but fucking doesn't mean you ride this shit into the sunset until you get burned by the sun. Icarus flying too close to the sun. It's like, bro, yeah, your ego would help you here, and you don't necessarily want to get rid of the shit that's driving you when you need to drive out of the scenario. But then after you drive out, you have to fucking transcend and find the gratitude.
The whole point
the peace.
is transcending your ego. That's
you know
why
what I mean?
you exist as a warrior. Yeah, for real.
Bro, I heard this point by a very prominent figure basically saying how much stress you can take as a man is your value as a man. It's like, and you should just be able to take as much stress as humanly possible. But like, bro, everything I believe in negates that, actually. Like, I'm a Christian, right? You find rest in God. You don't sit here and like, okay, God, make me able to tolerate all the stress ever. That's not how it's...
I would actually say it's the opposite. I would say, ironically, the amount of stress that you take as a man, the more stress you're taking is directly representative of how inefficiently you're living your life.
Right, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Past a certain age, like, why do you want stress after, like...
Yeah,
you should have learned your lessons.
You were talking yesterday how like Jeff Bezos.
Your story epitomizes that as well.
We were talking yesterday how with Amazon, Jeff Bezos, like, he empowered everyone around him, so like he does fuck all, and they're all like star players doing their shit, like bringing the company up.
Of course, yeah. The idea that you just need to keep taking, like, stress is mental. You want to live as if you've already made it. I got a friend that told me the same thing. He said, bruv, like, when I got kidney failure, he was like, stop celebrating overcoming challenges. Just stop having challenges that you don't need. And he's completely right. He was like, you've proven you're a serious guy. There's people on the other end of the spectrum that don't go for anything because they're too scared. They've had it so cushy and they just don't want to even try it, which is a different conversation. Like, if you're too scared to even face adversity, you're a dickhead. You should have stress, absolutely. But past a certain point, there will come a tipping point, which only you know, again, is be self-aware, where you're like, am I actually getting results from this stress?
Diminishing returns.
Which is what I had, I was like, I'm not getting results here, which comes back to the original question of what's next for you, how do you learn? It's just sitting with myself and go, all right, I don't need to seek teachers and shit right now. Right now, I need to disseminate what I've got. I listen to the world and the universe and reality, and the universe is telling me, what's your Twitter? How do I learn from you? Have you got a course? Have you got Gumroad or whatever? Have you got videos? Like, I want to learn more. And I'm getting people telling me that. I'm like, nah, I don't know how to do any of that shit.
Yeah.
So rather than going and seeking teachers and I just like, let me become that guy for a bit, and then eventually I'll go back onto that path of
100%. We're going to make sure that this pod from beginning to end is basically exactly what you just said, to where it's just disseminating everything that you have and fucking get your brand out, bro.
I feel a fucking moral obligation to push this hard as fuck.
Bro, I will I will flag bear this forever, bro.
It's genuinely needed, especially like there's so many fucking LARPs on the fucking timeline on Twitter.
Is it? Yeah. I don't know Twitter as well.
There's difference between like shit posting on Twitter, just taking the piss, and like actually pretending to be be someone you're not.
Is that what people do?
Well, bro, if we wanted to go off right now,
look,
what do we do it? I was saving for another pod.
We could cut it. We could cut it if you want to.
Well, bro, we're at a point in history. All I'll say is that where like nothing, authenticity has never been needed more. Truth has never been needed more. We've just been talking about truth. You're talking about, is therapy good or bad? All it is just getting to the truth, which is you feel a certain way, which isn't right. No one, you're made in the image of God. Like, you're abundant, you're joyous, you're powerful. You should, like, happiness is that you're born with it, and it gets taken away from us as soon as we get put into this fucking toxic world. So actually, what you're doing right now is therapy, like being righteous and being honorable and being a warrior, is just calibrating into the truth and just healing and fixing until we get to the closest version of a utopia that we can, really and truly, whilst also understanding things are going to come and test us, things are going to go wrong, people are going to die, it's going to suck, but guess what, let's just keep it real and try and sustain symbiotically honor, integrity, like the values of Bushido, of any code, of a religion, whatever you want to call it. My religion just happens to be like a warrior, like more of a warrior's one than a like an Abrahamic one or anything like that. It's just, I've just learned all my lessons and I've got all my value and my peace from fighting. That just happens to be me. But I just think if you're gonna, anytime you bite your tongue or you don't say anything, that gets put somewhere. So there's a somatic connection to emotion, right? Energy, emotion in the body. It literally gets stored in you. That's so real. Like, there's let's come back onto this, because if you don't want to talk about it, then because you can't.
It's not even about us. We're ready to talk about it.
We're ready to talk about it, but there's actually other people involved and there's money owed. Like,
well, if it's not the right chess move, don't do it. Yeah, if it's not a smart move, then don't.
It'll happen.
It'll happen eventually.
happen.
But that's what I said. But also, you go through too much stuff in your life, and you're like, I don't have anything else to. I can't hold anything back because I know what that life is like when you live untruthfully. If you live inauthentically, I know where that goes. Yeah. If you get money inauthentically, I know where that goes. Like,
do you want to talk about that actually?
Yeah, let's go. So I was fighting in Thailand from 20, and then like 20 to whatever, like 23 or something. Was just fighting MMA, everything. England, Thailand, went to Europe, and then I just started getting the most savage pain in my hips, like the worst pain where I genuinely just, there was times I couldn't walk, like days where I didn't know how to fix it. And it was hurting so much, and it was such a central part of my body. It just fucked me so bad, and in so many ways, like, I couldn't have sex properly. I just couldn't. It was just stressful getting in and out of cars, like getting in and out of beds, just walking up and down stairs. And I was just like, how am I this young? And I've tried so hard to live righteously. Because, by the way, I'd never taken drugs. So in my town, everyone's having sex and doing coke at 11 years old, 12 years old. Like, the biggest flex, here's something that blows my mind. The biggest flex growing up in England was who can do more of this packet in one line. Like, who can do more of a line? And people take the piss out of you, going, you can't do as much, you're a lightweight. Imagine that we've been cucked and our parents have been cucked. Well. So society, because of financial reasons, because of immigration, because of whatever, like just a breakdown of society, get rid of national service, like you just have no structure anymore. That young guys, and by the way, the concept of finding yourself as a teenager is another side. You don't need like 12 to 25 to fight. Are you joking? Like, he's just discovering himself. At 13 or 12, as soon as you become a man, you can hold a spear. Like, guess what? You're a man. Here's your initiation. You have a ritualized initiation. You go through like trial by combat, whatever, go through some sort of gauntlet. In Spartans, they would get locked outside the village and had to like survive a night in the winter or whatever. Like, you have rituals. We don't have that anymore. Kids are just sort of somewhat, oh, you're sort of an adult, go and take some drugs and fuck up a bit, and hopefully if you survive, you might get a job. Are you mental? Like, it actually makes me really angry when I think about this stuff, because it's such a binary thing. Like, just go from one age, like you're a child, you're now a man. Here's what that involves. Guess what, son? Like, fucking get your shit together. You've got a duty to this whole society that we've all... And ironically, people talk about communism being gay and stuff and capitalism being bad. This is kind of a collectivist mentality. It's like, for the betterment of everyone, you have to be the best man you can be for yourself. Here's what that involves. You get what I mean? We want to all like make it together. Like, together we're strong. Like, fraternity, like community. So like that tribal connection. So it just blows my mind that when I think about that, people literally use the term lightweight as an insult in England. You're a lightweight. You can't drink as much as me. Like, what a joke. It's in like teenagers. Maybe if you're like got some friends and you're kind of fucking around in a bar or whatever, but like the idea that young kids was when they should have been becoming responsible men and like being... I remember it all the time. I used to feel really self-aware. I couldn't drink as much as other people, but like, oh, what's wrong with me? Versus like, oh, your jab's not as snappy as the next kid. There was nothing like, it wasn't something empowering. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, like, how do we get better at something? Like, it was like, let's all destroy ourselves together and celebrate it. It's fucked.
Race to the bottom.
It is disgusting. It is so bad that people accept that. It's absolutely mental. And we're at a point you just have to leave it. If you're there and you're listening to this and you're going, oh yeah, my friends are like that, why are you with them? Fucking ask yourself. It's actually, that's your therapy right there. You might not need to go talk to a therapist. You might just be miserable and go, what's wrong with me? It's because you're around that. Leave. Just fucking leave. Actually do it. Just
Yeah.
walk and figure it out. You're a fucking young man. You'll survive.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing about cucking and not having an ego and being told you're not strong. You got an ego, you got tea, you're gonna be fine. Like, you'll work it out. Connect with us. Like, there's people out there proving that it's possible. Just don't allow yourself to get tricked by that. Sorry, but you were saying, yeah. So I got injured, and my hips were hurting so much. And like I said, like, I'd use that ego to get there, but all these demons from the past, people saying collect your demons, it's bullshit. You don't need, people say to me all the time, by the way, another little segue, oh, my life's been too good. How do I overcome stuff to get your kind of power? I'm like, bro, it's not, trauma is not a desirable thing. You do not want it. What is the value in trauma is the lessons you learn via overcoming adversity. And this is so important. It is not the cause of the adversity that's valuable. It's your ability to overcome it. So actually, the real meta would be overcome some adversity and learn some wisdom without getting damaged in the process. So that involves starting a business, doing a boxing match, fucking moving location, like starting a new relationship,
That's
breaking up with an old one.
location, huge one.
Anything that just makes you go, oh fuck, like I need to sharpen up right here. Like, fuck, this didn't go right and I thought it would be. What do I do? How do I grow? This is making me feel uncomfortable. How do I create comfort again? Like, how do I fix a problem that I've brought upon myself that I can control that isn't going to destroy me, basically? That's what this shit comes down to. And then that's about going on a hero's journey. Like, what's calling you to where? Go follow it and you'll go through some stuff. Fucking your man coming over here at 19, he's never left his whatever. I did the same sort of thing, just left my country. I had my mum and dad both saying, if you don't go to uni, you're going to, because they were uneducated, like immigrants, like, it's like, my dad's an immigrant, he's like, you know, you're killing your mum because all she ever wanted was like you to go uni, and like here you are just like abandoning your family. And I'm like, it's if I don't do this, I'd be abandoning my family. If I don't live truthfully to my fucking calling, I'll be going to be abandoning myself, and therefore I'll abandon the world and everyone, let alone the family. That's manipulative. So a lot of people go for that. That's part of being a man, the hero's journey. You just leave. You fucking leave, like, and it's gonna hurt your parents, it's gonna hurt whoever, and you have to do it because you're a fucking sovereign man. Like, again, I keep saying, made in the image of God. Like, you think God was going, oh, I kind of want to create the world, but you know, it might upset someone. Like, what are you talking about? He just fucking did it. Go create your own world. So, so anyway, I got injured, and then that's where all these demons came back. So I realized that the ego doesn't actually help that much. But let me rephrase that. Let me really rephrase that in case someone takes that out of context. The ego had got me that far, but then also it hadn't healed me. I had not overcome the initial driver to get to that point of being a pro fighter, and I had like 12 fights or something, and people in my town were like messaging me, they were like, yo, you got a fight coming up. Like, I was starting to get some momentum. I was selling some tickets and things, and I was starting to feel good about myself. I couldn't really train anymore because my hips were hurting so much. And also I was just getting triggered. I find myself saying to girls like, yo, we're having sex, and they'd be like, what's wrong? Like, why'd you stop? And I'd be like, oh, it's my hip. And I would hear that. I'd be like, what the fuck? And I had 3 surgeries on it, and it just didn't help. So I went through like 2 years of rehab. It really, really put a dent in my progress. I'm like my early 20s, and my body's falling apart. And this is how I learned about the somatic connection with trauma, right? And how stiffness is in the body that is stiffened up emotions, and how different parts of your body. So I've got a kind of a good understanding of anatomy and biomechanics now. Injuries you get in certain parts of your bodies and emotional blockages you get in certain parts of your bodies massively affect the chain elsewhere. So my issue was never actually hips. It was like a lower back problem. Combined with a lot of tension in that area as well. So it wasn't a hip joint problem, it was a lower back problem combined with tightness in the fascia of the hips from where I'd been protecting it because of what happened when I was younger. So I always turned my knees inwards. I'd always sit in a certain way, and my back, I got an injury when I was younger in my lower back, which I just ignored when I was younger. But like that combined with that tension in the fascia and like that constant hip alignment I was putting it in, which is why you can see anxiety, by the way, as a segue to people's jaw change when they practice deep breathing. When they do diaphragmatic breathing and they really practice expanding their diaphragm, their actual jaw, you talk about looks max and all this mad shit, like just by learning to breathe powerfully, you will literally change the shape of your jaw because it relaxes more. So that's what I'm saying is tension and traumas and stuff, like they fully affect you in really insidious ways. So I had all this surgery and it just wasn't getting better. I tried the rehab, I went to the best fucking physios and stuff, and I was diligent with it and it just never got better. So thing is growing up, I never did all the drugs and shit. So I've been watching that going like, whoa, all these guys are doing that, but that seems like loser shit. I want to become great. I want to be a fighter and a champion and stuff. I want to go write a story, and that doesn't involve being a nerd in my hometown just doing ketamine. Like, fuck this. Like, you lot suck. Like, fuck all the rest of you. And so when I then didn't really have anything else to focus on, I was like, well, what was all that about? Clearly it must have been good if everyone was doing it from like 15 till right now. And there's guys, even as I sit here now at 30 years old, still in the exact same thing doing it. 2 decades. So when I was come on to like selling drugs and stuff, but I would be going and serving up to people that are like 50 who were like hanging out with 20-year-olds, like doing the same drugs they did when they were 20. And I'm like, bruv, that is actually offensive. It's not just sad, it's offensive to your fucking potential. Do you know what I mean? So, point is, yeah, got injured. So I was like, all right, fuck this, let's give it a go then. Like, let me actually see what this is about. So I started taking it, and coming back onto that dopamine dysregulation we talked about earlier, from like, so your brain state can be massively affected when you're young by trauma, as well as your in utero development. So this is a huge point. I should have actually mentioned this right at the
Stressing your
start.
mother as well.
Yes. So when you're getting coded, so here's a really cool concept for you. Does it ever blow your mind? Because if not, it fucking should. We are all sitting here as like trillions of cells, bacteria, fungus, like complicated individuals with all these like opinions and shit and problems and talents and stuff and destinies to be fulfilled. And we started off with 2 little microscopic pinpricks of just 2 cells. Not even lots of 2
ridiculous.
cells, bro.
Yeah.
2 cells. You mental. Like this absolutely, every time I think about it and say it, it makes me realize how divine everything actually is. And just, there's so much more to all of this than people really think. This is why it breaks my heart. And I'm so passionate about the work that I do, that people aren't seeing how great everything is and how much more to everything there is. As we all sit here, there's 5 of us in this room, and that's 10 cells that created. We've got the potential to affect the world with this. Like, we're literally affecting space and time based on being 2 cells. So that shit came together, and over the period of 9 months turned into a fucking functioning human. Like, for that to literally happen, it required like coding of helixes and proteins. You get what I'm saying? Like these ladders of DNA, and how that got formed is a direct result of your mum. How her diet, her stress levels, what she was going through, like everything she intook is literally what you were like a fucking seed. They called it a seed. Do you get what I'm saying? You were literally a seed. How do you water a plant? How you feed a plant determines how it grows. Does it get light? Is it in a good condition? Is there mold in the atmosphere? Whatever. So did you give it fertilizer? If you're getting fertilized with shit, then guess what? It's going to absolutely affect you. So, and that goes into like, not just like, did she take heroin when you were younger or something, but like in my case, it was, my mom she almost died. Like, she was really ill. She was in ICU and she got absolutely tanked with antibiotics. So her microbiome got absolutely fucked, and so did mine as a result. And it really affected it. And you can literally, this is what's so interesting about this now, you can do tests which will show you your DNA. You can map out, only in the last 10 years this has come out, you can map out your whole genome, and with the right types of like medicinal knowledge and the right experts, they will show you. There's literally, I think there's about, oh fuck, I forget how many, between like, it's like 200 to 600 like real markers, like 200 and 300 actually, of like markers that you really want to test for.
Yeah.
And you can see each one and the patterns of ones that have got, they're called like SNPs, like SNPs, where they don't get coded quite properly. And that means that the expression in the body, it doesn't send the right command in the way that like 99 out of 100 other people is. If you've got this one SNP compared to them, your behavior is affected. So for me, it was emotional control. It was the, the AO1 gene, I think. I think it was the AO1. I'm getting it mixed up with something else. That might be histamine. But let me remember the actual gene. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, that's a histamine one. Another typical one is MTHFR though, and a lot of this is controversial. Some people, and this, by the way, when you get into the health space, you start realizing everyone's right and wrong in equal measure. What works for some person, other people say that's bullshit. So when I say MTHFR, you'll get plenty of doctors going, that's bullshit. It's people just making money and stuff like that. Guess what? When I discovered this, it saved my life. Again, look at my story, look at my pictures. I applied these principles, and I'm fucking winning compared to where I was. So, and will continue to do so. So, for me, it was the MTHFR gene, which is directly responsible for anxieties, depressions, OCDs, dopamine dysregulation, like attention, emotional dysregulation, all this kind of thing, combined with a fucked up microbiome. So microbiome is really important, right? It's the bacterial balance of your whole body, which facilitates your biological processes. So mine got fucked because of all the medicine my mum had to take and being in ICU, and she didn't get fed properly and shit like that. So I came out like already coded a bit scattily. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she was flooded with cortisol. She said to me, she was like, she told me this recently, she was like, I was absolutely convinced I was going to die when you were in your last trimester or whatever. So all that stress obviously goes to you, right? So this is important. I always urge people, if you want to really get to know yourself, if you've still got access to anyone that can tell you about your birth circumstances, try and find them out. How was like the first, and this is the level of autism that I apply to stuff like, which you've experienced in coaching. I don't want to be, when I have children, you think I'm going to go to a fucking clown world hospital, some Zionist hospital where they're playing like Sam Smith over the radio, and I'm going to let some fucking idiot nurse like take my kid into another room whilst they're blaring like Miley Cyrus? Like, fuck you. Like, I don't even want them vibrations going into his first experience of reality. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I want to It's you got to think about
Home birth.
just
Natural home birth in Shangri-La or some shit.
yeah,
like that.
you just got to think about how are you getting formed is my point. And you don't want to go too far, you just lose your mind and you're so fucking like tiger parenting your kid and you're like, no, you breathe too many times in that 1 minute, like do some press ups. Like it's not about that. I'm just saying these are the levels that can affect you. So depending on how much you care about your own self-development, then this is the way you can go. So for me, life is holistic, right? I want to be holistically competent is the term that I use. I want to be holistically competent. I want to be able to beat up anyone. I want to be able to love anyone. I want to be able to be biologically healthy, spiritually healthy, have a good creed, like have good business, like borderless. Like I want to do everything, find peace. Do you know what I mean? It's not just I need 100 grand a month by the time I'm 30. That's it. If it's not, it's part of the bigger picture. I want to be at everything: relationships, charisma, health. Health itself is I want to be like what is it, like osteoskeletally healthy. I want to be microbiome healthy. I want to be like mental clarity. I want skin to. You get what I'm saying? It's everything. So like my words clean, that kind of stuff.
That's the only way to do it, bro. And I say this because I want to actually say this point for a lot of people that are watching. It's just going to be like, I've heard so much where it's like, oh yeah, I'll lose the weight after I make 100 grand. Or I'll make 100 grand after I lose the weight. And they don't end up doing either one. It's not they end up getting the one. It's like, no, bro, you're putting off losing the weight, you die. But you put off making the money, you never get the resources to lose the weight, bro. Like you do it all at once. It always happens all at once, in my experience.
But also with fat people like that. So I struggle with this all the time because like I started swimming at the age of 6. So every day before school I was swimming at 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. till fucking 16. I was competing like 3 times a month because it's not like fight like 4 times or whatever in a year. Doing it every fucking weekend. So it's just insane discipline. So like naturally, I just fucking hate fat people. I always have.
That's the conclusion. Like.
No. But I'm not even joking. Like, I just don't understand it. It's just so far removed from me. Like I just don't fucking understand it. When I was 14, I got like a calories test. My body fat was like 4.5%. I was like literally the skinniest fuck of all time.
I've been there a little too.
As a result, I was like not getting picked for teams in rugby because I was like so skinny. But I was better than everyone. Like with like hands and fucking shit and feet and stuff. Like I had the skills. I was as small as fuck. So anyway, I'm kind of a tangent.
My fault.
What I'm saying with fat people is like there's a disconnect, and I think it was actually I think it was Simon on the timeline on Twitter, or could have been Reese. They basically said like, you know, you're saying like to a fat person, it's like how can they just like not be fat, or like, you know, why can't they just like, you know, fucking like do the diet? And it's like they don't even want to. They say they do because like society's looking at them as a fat person. And it's like, oh, it's a bad thing, I'm fat. And they're like, yeah, no, I want to lose weight, but they actually don't. They're just saying that because you know that's what. They know
they think that's what the other person wants to hear.
Exactly. So they don't actually want to be.
So to answer, I got a case study right now. John, shout out John. I had a client who's quite literally, as we're speaking, it's funny you mention this, on his way. He's in the sky right now, about to land in Bangkok, and we're going to do a 3-month training camp. Having done a 3-month training camp last year, he was 533 pounds when he came to see me. At one point, he was nearly 600. So here's the thing, though. He's a 8-figure guy. He's got his life, his finances, he's everything. The people you're talking about. He's got it. He's got a farm that's only accessible by air if he decides, and he's got a lot of ammunition like to go with it. Like he's got everything that you could possibly need. I'm doxing him a lot. I probably shouldn't say all that, but the point is he's made it in life. He's making a brand and he's doing everything like to show you about this, but. He got to that point and he was like, you know what, this is actually fucking insane. Like, I'm going to die and I'm not even going to enjoy this stuff that I've made. Now he came to me, it was like, he saw my kidney, we'll come on to my kidney issue. He saw how I survived my kidney failure and the mindset that I had going through it. And he said, I want to download your worldview, is what he said to me. He said, I don't care what it costs. I want your software in my head. How do I do that? How do we make this happen? And also I need to lose a lot of weight as well. So the answer is, when you say I don't get it with fat people, how do you think I fixed him? Because now he's at 400 and I want to say like 440 or something in like 6 months it's been, I think. So he's doing really good. He's losing like £1 a day, still going strong. He's learned to box. I've taught him to swim, dance.
How does he move when he's boxing?
He's really coordinated because he was a basketball player when he was younger. So he's not a typical retard. He's got an athletic background. So, and this is another bit of advice. When you're younger, just do stuff because it stays with you. Do something. But anyway, look, the point is that he's obviously, people at that weight have tried it. They cycle, they lose 100 pounds, they come straight back on. So what I realized with him was through my own journey of being a drug addict, anyone who's not in their natural godly state of self-love is going to cope. It's as simple as that. It's literally as simple as that. And we live in a very sick society and a sick time where most people, the majority, in my opinion, are actually traumatized, where they don't even realize that they're not in a state of self-love. So a fat person is actually a very masochistic person, no matter how much you want to dress it up and go, yeah, body positivity and whatever.
No, that's all bullshit. That's another fucking psyop.
It's a massive curse, yeah. So another one you want to do, and it's so demonic because they know this. to be overweight means that you hate yourself, because it's absolutely, you feel better when you look and feel a certain way. Like what we said with the ego thing, it is as it is. It's as it is. It's a fucking hermetic principle. It's like, it just is. Like, if you feel good when you look a certain way, that's because that's how you're supposed to feel. So to deny it and go, no, actually you should feel good when you're fat, even though you don't naturally feel that way, it's everyone else's fault for judging you. You're manipulating reality, and it's actually not true. So my first work that I did with John, before we even looked at exercises and diet, and the typical person would have just gone like a PT, like just a physical trainer versus like a healer, would have said, okay, well, let's look at your macros and like how many carbs you're doing, and let's try and bring that down and track all of this. Yes, that's part of it. But really and truly, it's John, why the fuck did you feel the need to eat this much? What were you running from? Like, what were you running from? What hurt you so much that like a pizza would fix it in that moment, even though you knew it might kill you? What was like worth risking eating another hot dog for because you couldn't deal with it in that moment when you knew you shouldn't be in that hot dog? There's got to be something there. What the fuck's that? It was like, he literally absolutely stunned. He was like, I was like, here we go. Like, nah, and this is therapy. This is it right here. Like, I said, be fucking honest with me. Otherwise, you can give me whatever money you want. Like, and I fucking needed it at the time. But I was like, I don't even care. I've lived in my car. I've lived with nothing. Like, I don't give a shit. What I care about is truth, because I know money will follow truth anyway. So, fucking, like, reliable money, sustainable money, good money will. But the point is, be honest with me, motherfucker, because it's not going to work. Like, I'm going to lose you £100. You're going to put it back on. I'm going to be pissed off. You're going to be pissed off. This is bullshit. Let's get to the fucking bottom of this once and for all. And so we did this work. And actually, the first few sessions just turned out to be literally just like kind of really emotional, like digging into what the fuck happened to him at certain times. I was like, well, there you fucking go. All addiction is rooted in trauma. If you're addicted to food or addicted to ketamine, it doesn't matter. It's all the same exact thing. So to answer you, Tom, I would say most fat people are in denial that they have something they're covering up for. Most fat people. I would also say, a lot of them are genuine scumbags that should be like, because they're just weak. Like they're just, and it's not just them, but it's also the drug addicts. It's also the people that don't really have any issue, but they just don't have it in them to be better. And honestly, we're at a point in society now where I'm like, just bring on the final solution, because they've been misled to such a point where they're just spoiled. They're like, there is no, we talked about you need demons and pain and David Goggins and shit. Like, you and I'm saying you don't want to calibrate, you don't want that to be your life fuel where it's like pain, graft, like come on, carry the boats and shit. I'm not saying that should be your 100%, but it is part of it. As a fucking man, you need to be initiated into some sort of like strength and overcoming and like robustness in it. And these guys that have never had that are just like, well, I want to be fat just because I feel like it, so you know, like it's up to me. It's like, nah, if you get your shit together and just start like catching up with the rest of us in terms of responsibility, because it's about responsibility, this, right? And by the way, that's my definition of a man. It's just how responsible is he? The ability to respond. It's in the fucking word. Like, do you have the ability to respond to anything? Hence, I love special forces guys. Like, it's like they can respond to anything. Medical, like tactically, like physically, like spiritually. Like, can you just turn on when you need to? Can you deal with with the demands put upon you? If you can't even move your body because you can't even respond physically, then you're not responsible. Do you get what I mean? Like, if you can't even mentally take the responsibility to be physically responsible, you're not responsible on that level as well. So you're the opposite of a man. I said that to John. John's there like fucking talking about masculinity, and he's like, I want to do X, Y, and Z in terms of being a man. I'm like, bruv, you can't. Your own body's not listening.
Not even wipe your ass.
Yeah, why the fuck are you expecting the world to do what you say? Like, you can't. Your own body's not even doing what
I personally don't even listen to fat people.
I think that's true. I mean, John's his business advice is phenomenal, because here's a guy that's got the receipts of everything you could want to own a farm. Do you know what I mean? In my opinion, most men's young base guys want to own a compound in nature, right? That's what most of us want. Be off grid, eat our own food with our fucking women, and that's it. He's basically got that. So you would listen into that. But that's also why he's able to make the progress he's now making, because he's honest. He's like, hey, look, it's actually because I'm lazy that I was able to be so good in business and systemize it, because I didn't want to do any work. But unfortunately, it's led me to this. So he's got that component mentally where he's like, it's called responsibility and accountability. And that's a warrior shit thing. You only get that for getting boxed. If we're going to spar and you punch me in the eye and now I can't see out of my eye for the rest of the day because it's swollen, guess what? I'm going to learn that lesson, because I don't want that shit to happen again. That's why martial arts is good. It keeps you accountable physically. It's not about anything other than just, do you have something holding you down? All these people don't. John did though. He had that thing. He had a basketball background. He had just something inside him that was like, nah, come on, I need to actually fucking get this together. So those guys that can't get it together. So I would say, Tom, in your case, I do agree with the fury that you have for them, but I would filter it first and go, which type of which breed of fat person are you? Do you have the potential for responsibility and accountability, or are you just genuinely don't even have a soul?
On a fucking mobility scooter.
Yeah, like that. At that point, I think you should go because they at that point they need to go because they could even
At that point, it's just visual pollution.
yeah,
Fuck's sake.
yeah. Because there's going to be fat people listening, like struggling out there. They just need the right unlocking. And I've got all the time in the world for anyone that is just trying their best. If you're genuinely going to put your foot forward and you say, look, I can't do it alone, will you help me? Mate, I'll give you the fucking shirt off my back. It's the people that just don't even want to try.
Yeah.
Like, just go at that point. And
I'd agree with that too. Like,
Yeah.
fair enough, whatever you want to get on the path. But man, if you're just fucking...
get on the fucking path. That's the point there. Get on it. And then we can talk. Like, just join me on this path. I don't care where you are.
The fat person going to the gym. You can't give him shit because he's going to the gym. Like, you can't.
Of course.
You can't. But it's the fella who's literally just at home eating Cheetos, fucking
Absolutely.
gooning in his bedroom. Like,
right.
fuck. I have no respect for those people.
I'm really glad you raised that because I think real guys, the kind of guys that you want to be rolling with, and the people and the women and just the type of society you want to be in, they're not going to judge you for trying. Yeah. No one ever hates from above. No one, anyone who's above you is never going to look down and go, ha ha. It's only people that are either jealous or they're behind you. Hate only comes from below. So
I'd actually clap back with that and say that it actually comes from all angles. Like we even on Twitter, for example, we've noticed like people are a little bit ahead of us. You know, like they get envious when they see motherfuckers.
Are they ahead?
But they're ahead on Twitter.
Yeah.
They're not,
where are they ahead?
Well, like ahead per se.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just got a feeling like, you know, people are if they're at the top, they're almost like they're at the top and they're kind of surveying the area.
Well, there's a self-preservation aspect.
That's it.
Is that hate though, or is that them just maintaining where they're at? Because there's two different things. I'm talking about bitterness, because it's very hard for you to stay ahead and be bitter. Because bitter is a very stagnant emotion. So if I'm going to say, let's just say hypothetically right now, I'm doing 100 grand a month, you're doing 10 grand a month, and I'm here and we're in the same industry, and I'm here going, and I'm seeing you suddenly go to 20 and then you go to 50 in 2 months. If I go, all right, interesting. This guy's making moves. Fuck, he's going to replace me soon. What do I do about it so that I can maintain my position as top dog? Yeah. That's not hating at all. That's me just doing my duty as a guy that is competitive and wants to be at the top.
Hate can come from that because then you can say, all right, fuck it, I'm going to fuck him over.
It's got nothing to do with you. That's got everything to do with me being weak though. That's my weakness, which will inevitably lead to my downfall. So if I allow hate to take over and I'm not constantly checking myself and I'm not self-aware enough and I'm not on the actual path that got me there in the first place, which by the way is very typical. People get to a certain point and they fall off. They don't have the drive of accountability anymore because they get comfy and they see other people and they just get, that's what a bitter old man is. That's what Ebenezer Scrooge is. He's just been a spiritual Scrooge. So I completely disagree that it's like, it's some sort of positive hate from all angles. I just think it's hate. It seems like it's coming above because he might have a shinier card than you, but it's still coming from below. Do you know what I mean? You're the one that's actually going above.
That makes sense.
Whereas really he's like coming from underneath. Yeah. He's like giving you a reach around basically. Like it's not, no one who's on their path is ever going to hate anyone ever, because hate is just such a fucking negative state. It doesn't serve anything ever.
It's crazy. You said it's stagnant. I think that's a crazy point. I don't want to skip it. Hate, like bitterness, is a stagnant. So like we see, let's say I'm at 100K and I see Tom go from 10 to 50, 20 and then to 50. If I take a hateful angle, it roots me there. Because I'm like, fuck that guy, he's not doing it right, or fuck that guy, he's cheating, or whatever, right? So that analysis of the situation just rooted me, just planted me in the area that I'm at, versus a boom, accountability, open up. Okay, he's doing that, he's doing this.
Fucking
and
collab with him, find out what he's doing, like do it together, make a mill.
But you can't do that if you're bitter. You see what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It's a banger point. I just wanted to recount that.
But hate will always get you. It will always get you. And actually, if you're smart, you'll go, this is what I said about myself earlier. I found myself hating. I've got a friend, shout out him, he said, he's coined a term for it. He calls it HGR. He was like, you're getting HGR again. I'm like, what? He said, hateful gay retard. Says you're being HGR right now. It's real HGR energy. And it's completely true. He said, like, look, you're just judging someone for nothing. Let them do their thing. Why the fuck's that got to affect you? Yeah. And so I've got to have the intelligence, the self-awareness, the humility, and the studiousness to go, fuck, here's an opportunity to get better. I can judge this person and I can be right. A lot of the times I'm fully spot on. I'm very rarely wrong with anything at this point, like in terms of what I talk about here. And like the people that I'm judging, it's completely true. And they prove it further down the line. And that makes me even more annoyed. I'm like, I've always been further ahead and I always said this would happen. It's like, So
how does it benefit you?
How do you benefit? How does anyone benefit? People are actually uncomfortable around you. That's what I started noticing. I was like, fuck. This is where I was not that long ago. I noticed people really like me and they like being around me. But I would inevitably just not quite fully connect with them. Like there'd be a little like drive them away slightly, and I realized it was within me. And I started
intensity maybe.
Yeah, it was the intensity where I was like, I'm pissed off that I haven't got my due diligence, what's the word? Like, I haven't got my,
You know, the rewards.
yeah.
let's say,
I haven't got the
yeah.
receipts for like
Yeah.
what I've been through and who I am and the value and the potential within me. And that bitterness, that hate is coming out. And guess what? Because I'm so intelligent, I can mask it as something else where I'm right about these, like I say, these fake people are doing really well and it's bullshit because X, Y, and they don't really see the truth. It's like, yeah, you're right. It's still coming from a hateful place.
Yeah.
It's still, and guess what? I did the exact thing you're talking about, which was, I was like, yeah, but I'm just analyzing it and working out how to do it better. And it's like, bro, they don't exist. There's a phrase in martial arts. This was at SBG, Straight Blast Gym in Dublin. They had it on the wall massively. And John Kavanagh would just walk around saying it. This was when Conor was fighting Diego Brando. I was there. And he would just say, there is no enemy. There is no opponent. There is no opponent, over and over again. And I thought it was so pretentious at the time because I didn't understand. I was like, so gay. Yeah, there is. There's a guy in front of you and he's about to hit you in the face. Now tell me there's no one there. Like, however, he's completely right. It's just your relationship to the problem in front of you is the opponent. Can I solve you? You're 6'4", you're bigger and heavier than me, you move in this way and that way, I move in this way and that way, how do I overcome you? You don't exist. It's my ability to implement my strategy to get the outcome I want. Same in that moment. It's like, these other people don't exist. If I'm not happy with where I am, I need to fucking work that out. As soon as I start projecting that onto others, nah, you fucked it. There's no way you can frame it will ever be positive. So when you're saying I'll clap back and actually it's just tactical, nah, focus on yourself, innit? Like, they don't, if you're as good as you think you are, they shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? The world's abundant as well, by the way. Like, think of a tree when it bears fruit. If we wanted to go and eat from the tree, you think, oh, we've got to be careful. The tree's never, fucking every year, it never runs out. Do you know what I mean? It's abundant. Like, that's another massive side, that it's a zero-sum game. I genuinely believe it's a positive-sum game. Like, everyone, if they got their shit together, could all win equally, in equal measure. I actually believe that.
I agree. There's enough money in the world for everybody to be rich. Actually, it's just some people are disproportionately holding it, and some people.
But what even
that's
is
the
rich?
game.
What even is
Well,
rich?
that's
It's just
the
fucking
point.
Jew coupons. Like, rich is like health, happiness, wealth.
I love
fucking
how that catches on.
100%. Jupons. We're coining it. It's so funny because if you brought Tom to the United States, he would absolutely have a panic attack at this rate because it's like, who's rich and who's fat over there? Well, everybody. And Tom would just start throwing check hooks at them. But that's why we have.
But it's
a
actually funny you say that because I even said, how many times have I said I have no interest in going to the States? I've said that so many
that's
fucking
good.
times.
That's 'cause
I've
you're
never
smart,
had a fucking interest going there.
Bro, I'm
place.
from there, and it's
It's
you know what's
sick
crazy? It's like you talk about the towns like Brighton and then certain other towns in the UK that everybody's recounted. This is the
like
highest in
Portland
crime.
like
This is
that,
the gay capital, whatever. And these are the challenges that you're set with in the United States. Near or in any metropolitan area, if you're not on the fucking farm, everything is stacked against you, but it's disproportionate. So, or it's proportionate versus you're like proportionally liberal, disproportionately liberal in Brighton. It's disproportionately violent in Luton or something. Everywhere in the States is like set balance. The fucking radiation is higher than most places, but it's just right here. The food is worse than basically everywhere else, but it's just right here. The fucking AC is pissing you off in this area. The fucking routine is here. The speed of every city. It's just all set at this level to where you're just in this incubator of just like, fuck you, basically, you know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to get out so bad. It's crazy because like my HP bar, it's like if you fucking play video games, my HP bar just goes up when I leave different places. Like, I go to Bali, I go to Thailand, I go to wherever. I can train 5 times a day if I wanted to, and then booze that night, and then sleep 3 hours and wake up and outperform myself in the States.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't do that. You go to the United States, it's like you get nerfed. It's like everything.
You know what that is? You know what that is?
Vibration.
Cause you're malnourished with the nutrition of attention.
Yeah.
So this is something. So I've got a system, right? How I teach this in all my courses and my community that I'm setting up, where there's pillars. It's nutrition, software, hardware, and combatives. Those are the 4 pillars which I realize are the basis of all men. Like, it's literally that and they're subdivided into more categories. But nutrition underpins everything, right? For all the reasons we spoke about, your mom's nutrition, your nutrition. Most people though only talk about which type of nutrition. There's 2. The first one is the obvious one.
Food,
right? What you eat. But you also consume vibrations. You consume music. You consume thoughts, you consume intentions from other people, you consume like feelings of, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you consume the weather.
I was just about to say fucking weather.
Absolutely, yeah. You consume smiles, like energetic states of each other. So if you're in a place that's literally just been engineered to be nothing but compressive, there's no redeeming qualities at all, like anywhere in the West at this point, where they're just under attack from every single angle. It's the equivalent of only eating McDonald's.
Yeah.
But spiritually, you're just eating spiritual McDonald's because you go to smile with someone and you're getting met with someone who's literally, their vibrational state has been occupied of thoughts and been crafted from thoughts of why aren't I enough? Why can't I make more money? Is there going to be another pandemic? Like, why does that one Tinder match not get back to me? I listened to my mum and I went to uni, but now I don't have anything. Will I ever be able to afford anything? That's the only thing driving a 20 to 30-year-old guy today. That's it. They're their deepest level. You can pretend it's not, but it is if they're living in that environment. You then look at that person, that all through their third eye just comes straight into you.
Yeah.
All of it. You get what I'm saying? Whereas you come over, look at us. Like, you guys have boozed twice this week, eating fucking McDonald's yesterday. And look, you're still training today. We're going to go train after this. So why? Because it's uplifting. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and it starts with, like, this is where NLP is so massive. I promise you, I've stopped. I can't remember, apart from just then, the last time I used the word can't, like intentionally. I went, I can't do that. Sorry, that's not possible. About my own self. When I thought about an intention, I thought, can I do that? It's never been a case of, oh, I can't, or I won't, or maybe I should. It does it, bro. I can't even say it now. Like, it's hard for me to even be serious about it. And you know what's interesting is, I got called delusional all the time growing up by my family, all the time. Said, you're fucking delusional, you've lost your mind, like you're an idiot, just insulted over and over again. And I now realize that I'm starting to really, really win and get results now. I'm like, that's what you actually want. So like you said with the narcissist thing, which itself is such a horrible spell, you want a bit of you want self-belief to the point it scares cucked. It scares the cucked. It scares the herd. You want the herd to go, ooh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That guy's saying something that I can't resonate with, so he's crazy, not me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that to me is a very good sign that you're on the right path, that the kind of people whose lives you don't want insult you.
I've fallen out with people because my goals have insulted them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I've fallen out with people because my goals insult them. They got angry when I said my goals.
Beautiful.
We were talking about next year. I said my goals. It made them angry.
Yeah.
We haven't spoke since.
Of course.
Because I saw through and I was like, oh, you're not my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, like, fucking hell, you're not my friend. Yeah. This has made you angry. You didn't tell me you're angry, but I saw it in you.
Yeah, of course.
We haven't spoke since.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So, but yeah, and you owe it to filter out your own community. Do you know what I mean? You're trimming the fat off of people that would never have held you in the first place. And by the way, that ties into that thing I was talking about with the therapy. Say it. If you say your truth and you genuinely believe it, whatever that goal was, what was it?
I was with Sabre.
Financial. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, we're massively on track for it, by the way.
So there you are. Yeah, magic. Say it. What was it?
Basically, 7-figure company, first year.
In the first year, going to be a 7-figure company, gangster. So if you hadn't said that, how close would you be to getting it? If you hadn't said that into the reality,
Yeah, not as close because you're not making the intention.
Yeah.
and you would have been linking and giving your time and energy and resources and your vibrational exchange to people that would have been holding you back, and they never would have wanted you to know it. So by virtue of saying it, you've had the efficiency to go, oh, well, actually, I don't even need to talk to this person. You don't even give them any time. Where does that time go? Because it's got to go somewhere. Someone like Pierre, someone like me, someone that people are actually going to get you to getting it. This is what I'm saying to people: is say the fucking thing, whether it's positive or negative. Just speak it into reality, and things will happen as a result. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I well need a piss. Can you give me one sec?
Yeah,
no stress.
100%.
Give me one sec.
Okay.
We got 50 minutes.
50.
That was 2 hours.
Bro, we're
Yeah,
fucked.
bro.
This is a
Swear
fire
down.
podcast.
Full
bro.
fucking flowing, bro.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
This is one of the best podcasts I've ever
the
witnessed.
best, bro. We're pushing this for 100%.
Use that as the intro.
Yeah, 100%. We're gonna make a trailer for it. I don't even know how
I'm
we're
in the podcast. This is the best podcast I've fucking seen.
All right, let's go. So look, I was at the point of, so I got injured, yeah.
So
Okay.
just get a little closer.
Oh yeah, my bad. Boom. Right, cool. So I got injured, couldn't fight anymore. All them demons came back. Saw everyone taking drugs. I was like, all right, let's give this a crack. Is this any good? I was like, yeah, this is kind of good, but also I'm still somewhat competitive. Like, I've always been competitive. So rather than just taking it, let me see what I can do if I start selling it. So I don't really know much about this life. Like, it's kind of scary. Like, I don't really want to, like, I already know what I was doing, but I was also just like, nah, fuck this. Like, I was so full of rage. And also at the same time, this is really interesting, I was seeing really bad people that I knew growing up doing really well. So I saw people that didn't deserve, in my opinion, goodness. I was like, how are they getting rewarded when I know these people to actually basically have zero amygdala activation, which means like they have no emotional connection to like other humans. Like, these are actual terrible human beings, and they've got everything that a young man could essentially want. This is actually bullshit. So I've tried my best to be a good person my whole life. Like, I've genuinely done. And by the way, I was like, in this liberal township, I was a proper hippie. Like, you see the picture of me. I look like a little twink, like a little gay rainbow. I had like dreads. I would go and do like charity work and stuff like this. And I'd go to like really, really, really liberal shit. Like, we'd go and like fucking work with the homeless and things like this, which people can argue, oh, that's not liberal, that's just being good. But it was the wrong way around, is my point. Do you get what I'm saying? It was like, in school we were taught, if you're going to take drugs, here's how you take them. Like, here's how you use a needle and shit like that. And
That's crazy.
no, honestly, that's what it was like in school. So I was feeding into that just by kind of like justifying it versus being the change, which is what I'm doing now. Do you know what I mean? Back then I was like, I'm suffering, but you're suffering worse, so let me just help you, and hopefully that will elevate my suffering. It's all just bullshit. So anyway, I started seeing people, and I was like, and that kind of did a mindset shift in me, which is the mindset shift that I really needed at the time, which was, what you think is right and wrong isn't actually necessarily the truth. Like it's just, you've got to be a certain way to get certain outcomes. And that sounds so obvious. It sounds like a nothing statement, but I remember just realizing, all right, I really want to have more. Like, I don't really understand money. I don't really understand value. Like, I feel worthless. Like, I can't fight anymore. But I know that I want more than what I currently have, which is like basically living at my mum's house in my 20s, like just taking drugs. Like, this is shit. Like, come on, there's got to be something better. So I was like, all right, well, clearly but also there was an element of damage there. Well, a big element of damage. I was traumatized. I was angry. I was miserable. I had a real low vibrational state combined with that logic. So the emotion was negative. The logic was true. So I was like, all right, cool. Time to turn this on. Like, I've been really good. It's got me nowhere. Fuck this, innit? Let's go. Like, I'm gonna actually I'll do whatever it takes. I don't care. The world's done me dirty. Like, I'm gonna go get it back type thing. I want to just take from everyone and do whatever it takes to just get out of here. Fuck this. So that's when, yeah, just did a fast track apprenticeship in crack. Like, that's what that was. So, and because I'm talented, I did well in it, and not at a crazy level at all. Like, if I was on James English podcast, it would last like 5 minutes. There was no like fucking, I wasn't like some big time exporter or nothing, but it was.
It's lucrative either way.
I got to the level where you start meeting like the kinds of people that you see films about. Do you know what I mean? I started meeting them, but I wasn't really like fucking. I wasn't at that level myself. It was more like I was in the room with them, like other people were talking about it, and then I would like someone would speak to them and then speak to me, and it was that sort of thing. So, yeah. So I got so this is when the devil just got hold of me. I was so miserable and so lost.
Are you convinced that what it was? Or are you using that as like an analogy?
So what's interesting is I've been told twice in my life by religious figures, you've got jinn attached to you. Jinn is Arabic for spirit. I was told one by a reverend, a priest, when I was like 6. He said to my mum, he was like, I think there's an entity there.
Did you ever try deliverance? From like a priest?
Not officially, but I've got a sick story.
So I genuinely believe in demonic possession, demons, all that shit's real. If you've done DMT, you know entities, spirit worlds, all that.
If you don't.
100%.
If you don't understand it, there's an astral plane, and that, like, if you don't understand basic epistemology, which is we can only obtain knowledge based on the senses that we're calibrated into. If you don't understand this, you're going to be a slave forever. Like, that's another massive spell. So we should do a list of how many spells. Another one is you've got 5 senses: eyes, ears, mouth and nose, touch and smell. It's bullshit. You've got so many. What about 6? What about ghosts? What about proprioception in boxing? Why is it right now I know that if I don't lean forward, I won't be able to touch your hand? You see that? I just know that. Other people that I know that I have to lean I'm probably about 6 inches away, 7 inches away, like off the back of the chair. Like, here, now I can lean. All right, look, got it. Like, that's a sense. No one teaches you that in school. Do you get what I'm saying? It's from fighting. So anyway, you've got ghost, you've got astral projection, you've got fucking what is it, like that site where you can see
clairvoyance.
Clairvoyance is, there's another word for it. I forget. They use it in like MK Ultra and shit. And but anyway, it's anyway. Look, so I'll come back to that. I can't remember why I talk about senses now. Oh yeah, demons. Yeah. So and then another time was in India. So this
do you actually believe that was Satan that actually had a hold of you?
It's really interesting question, because can I answer it with a story in a minute?
Absolutely, run it. The story you were just telling.
I'll answer it with a story in a minute, because I actually don't have a yes or no for that yet. So, or maybe I do, Freudian slip, yeah. So my point is, I was like, all right, fuck this, let's go. Like, I've been done dirty, I'm just gonna take from the world. So this is when I just calibrated into it. I didn't give a fuck. I tried to have no remorse, and this is what was really interesting, and why I know about authenticity. And I see through people so easily now, because in that life you really understand. You can't get ahead if you have a heart. And I tried to throw away my heart. I genuinely tried. I was in so much pain. Yeah, every day I was just like, how can I die without killing myself? That was honestly my worldview at that point in my life was, and it had been like this when I was younger, to be honest, but at least I had the future to look forward to as a teenager. But I was just been so traumatized and depressed for so long. I was like, how can, from the moment I wake up to the moment if I have to go to sleep again at my house, how can I just put myself in a situation where hopefully I just won't have to? Like, what can happen that can just stop this?
Just complete disregard.
Oh, mate, it was just fucking misery, like genuine misery. But then also it was quite exciting because I've got this ADHD fight or flight thing going on. I really enjoyed it as well, like running from police and like dangerous situations and stuff like that. It was like the fight in the ring, but just now with like real life stakes on the line and stuff like that. So it became like
a never-ending game. The money just going up. And
I swear to God as well, I genuinely believed I'll be safer in prison. I was like, at least if I'm in prison, like I can just not have to think as much about how shit everything is. It was just, I was so lost. I was so fucking lost. I promise you, my desire was to go to jail, and I just didn't fully commit to it, and then I hated myself for not, because inside there was still some sort of light. I was like, come on, like, this is retarded, what are you doing? Because if I really wanted to go to prison, I would have just fucking gone that day. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is where I've got to shout out, I suppose, my upbringing, because I still had goodness. Do you know what I mean? Like, I make it out like it was all doom and gloom. Like, my mum's a really amazing person. Like, my dad's a good person. He's just a lost guy. Like, he just doesn't know how to raise a son. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I still had a template of love. Do you know what I'm saying? And I've known people, and I've known a lot of people that didn't have anything. They have nothing. And these are the guys why I'm so keen to turn my situation and use the benefits and the love that I got, because I know there's guys out there that would do anything for what I had. Do you get what I'm saying? And like, with the leverage that I've got and the wisdom I've got and the opportunities I had that let me hold it together, my teacher as well, who saved my life, that I'll come on to, I was able to turn it around because I had some support there when other people just don't have any. Do you get what I mean? And it would be such a offense for me to not do greatness with this. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm just putting it out there into the world to say I'm very grateful, because everyone needs help. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a really important thing. It's a psyop that everyone just makes people make it alone. Guys that are like, I came up from the trenches and I had no support. It's like everyone has something. And you also it's a really important point, you need to have the humility to accept support and help. There's loads of guys out there that don't actually do that. They don't even want the help. You know what I mean? You hold a mirror up to them with truth, like you with your friends, and you say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And they go, oh, that makes me feel a certain way. I could choose to be inspired and better my own situation, or I'm just going to run from it and carry on suffering, because there's comfort in suffering. People are addicted to their misery. On a biological level, on a habit level. On a biological level, stress and like negative responses, hangovers, drugs, it elevates cortisol, which is dopamigenic. You feel good when you suffer as well. You've also got habits. As long as you're not actually dying, the longer things go on, it shows like the human brain is such that it's like, well, let's just keep doing what we're doing because we're not dying. Do you get what I'm saying? Even though it's counterintuitive, it's like, even though we're slowly killing ourselves, we're not dead yet, let's just keep going. That's why habits can be so hard to break. And it often requires a serious reset. So I'm in this situation where I'm just fucking miserable, and oh mate, some of the stories I've got are fucking insane, but they would if we've only got 50 minutes, I'll have to do another one about certain things. But man, I was like, some of the police chases I was in, some of the...
Give us one.
I'll give you one, right, where how I know angels exist and how I know there's another dimension,
Run
right?
it, bro.
I promise you, this is how angels exist. So during the lockdown, it's mad because it's entertaining, but also I don't want to violate it. I feel like I've been given this gift. I'll say it, and I'm going to try and say it really humbly, because it's actually not cool and it's not exciting, because it was just such a horrible thing that I was doing. But it did come from a place of pain, and I've learned a lesson. I got cleansed, by the way. Anyone listening to this, I got robbed of everything, so I almost died. So I learned my lesson. But the point is during the lockdown, this is when I was at my worst. I was so... Oh, by the way, as I was selling it and stuff, this is when my athlete turned on. I was like, I would get up at 6 a.m. and run before school, and then come home after doing sports at school, and then run it after. I was so driven as an athlete, and I had real hard work ethic. So it's the same with like the drugs. Every time there was a call. Any time when I was building it up, I just wouldn't miss anything. I was so on point with it, and it was just so obsessed. And it was my lifeline as well. Every time that number went up, it was like, and this is why I see money addiction in people that use it as a cope. When I see crypto guys and guys that need money because they're running from their own thing, it's called a trap for a reason. You can't stop it, not because it's easy money and it's dopamine hits and it makes you feel good, because it hides you from your pain. If you're a lot of these guys, like most people that end up in this, like I'm the evidence, are traumatized. Like people that do these cheap money ways of making something. It's like they're trying to run from their own fucking stuff, where they haven't got the integrity to honorably make themselves better. They're just going, well, I've got 100 grand, so I must be doing the right thing. It's like, bro, you got a bit of money. It doesn't mean you're doing the right thing. It just means you've got money. You're doing the wrong thing with 100 grand is what you're doing. You can't. That was me right there. So that was me. So one of these instances, so I was taking the drugs as well, by the way. So I was on point with it, but I got so good at taking drugs and selling it. I'd be like coming out of a K-hole and then driving a car around town and all this sort of shit. And during the lockdown, that was when the whole like counter movements that we start seeing in the world. Everyone, are you based? Are you not? Are you aware or whatever? Obviously, I've been through the whole 9/11 thing, so I was like, well, I know this is all bullshit. So, but no one was around my town. All the other dealers weren't around. Like, no one was anywhere, and I just didn't give a fuck. I wanted to die. Like, my plan, by the way, was I had a literal plan in my head. I was like, I hope one day that a policeman just pulls me over. They try to arrest me. I know how I'm going to take them down. I'm going to just chew his face off. I was literally like, I'm going to bite his throat out. His friend's going to come, and then he'll fucking try and tase me or whatever. I'm going to see if I can get his gun before, and then they're going to have to send armed police, and hopefully one of them will kill me. I promise you that's what my thought process was, and that's what was driving me through life.
Has to be Satan, bro.
I promise you I was actually meditating on that, and I would literally think about that happening. I was like, I hope this happens. Like, I don't want to be a pussy that kills myself, but hopefully someone will just do it for me. I was like, someone will stab me or someone will try to rob me or something like that. I was just so ready to go. And so anyway, I'm driving around, and I had a kilo, but at this point I just didn't give a fuck as well. And I had a kilo of something in my front seat that I had in a rucksack that I didn't use, so I was laughing at your backpack earlier. Tom has the same rucksack, so it's just kind of triggered me in the gym.
Bloodline memories.
Yeah. So it was in this rucksack, and the cellophane, you could see it coming through, and then you could see the color of what it was in the front of the thing. And I got pulled out. So in them times, there was no one around, and police would just stay in like a flower bed or whatever, or they'd be like hiding behind a tree and just waiting for a human that they could come and just ask you what you were doing out of your house, basically. I'm there driving around. Obviously, I get pulled over, and you could see this thing there, and I was like, oh, I've actually kind of fucked this a bit. I can't believe I'm just driven across town with like a box of this thing here. And this guy's asking me, and I'm like, God, this might be it. This might be it. I'm like, let's fucking go. I was like a jihadist, bro. I was like fucking ISIS or something. Like just like this is it. Like, it was horrible, and that's why I'm wary of telling this, because I just know how fucking disgusting it felt at the time. And he starts talking to me, and I'm there answering him, and he sees the thing in the car, and he looks at me just in disbelief. He's like, are you joking? Like, is this what I think it is? Like, are you what? He's just like, what? And then he calls his friend over from the thing. Fuck. And then he calls his friend over, and they both like come over, and he goes like, he's like, are you looking at this? And they both look at it like that, and he's like, right, obviously you're gonna have to step out. I swear to God, at this point I was like, this is it. Like, I'm gonna take them both. And I knew that I could as well. Like, I was crazy. I know how to fight. I was like, this is really gonna be it. This is my time to go, and I'll fucking take these cunts with me. And they looked at each other, and one of their radios went off, and I don't know what the code was. It was like some busy shit on the radio, and they looked at each other like this, and one of them just went, fuck. They ran in their car and they drove off. I swear to you, that's what happened. They ran in their car and they drove off, and I'm sat there shaking. I'm like kind of laughing maniacally, and I'm like, I want to take, I could taste this fucking throat in my mouth. I was like, I know what it's going to taste like. I want to actually chew this guy's life like out of his throat. I want to kill him. Like, fuck the world for what it's done to me. And they just went, oh shit. They got in their car and they drove off, and they literally just left like there and then. And I just lost it. I started laughing so much. I was like, I'm fucking untouchable. Like, that's it. Let's fucking go. Like, everyone can get it now. Like, no one can touch me. I'm divinely protected. Like, this is it. Like, this is the next step type thing. And then, so that's when I had a couple of them instances. Yeah, that wasn't even the only one. I had that happen 3 occasions. And so when finally what happened where that started the process of confirmation bias, right? Which you get in trading, where people like, they feel like they can't lose. It's like a gambler's fallacy, where it's like, I tried this and it should have gone wrong, but it didn't. So clearly I'm divinely protected. Exactly what I'm saying. And then you end up blowing your whole account. It's exactly what happened to me. So I started taking bigger and bigger risk, and was just felt untouchable, which is why it's called a trap, which is why you can't leave it on your own. And I'm the same person that went into it being like, I'm not going to be like the people who get caught, which is what everyone thinks. I'm going to do it differently. I'm not going to be whatever. And the more drugs you take, the more untouchable you get. You just inevitably, you are going to get taken out. You're going to get taken out. And all you can hope for, it's the same with OF guys. It's the same with anyone that does this life, which is why I see through all of them so much. And I'm trying so hard to do the right thing now. Not even just to save them, but just to put this out there and go, whether it's this life or the next, you're going to get touched, because karmic debt is 100% real. And the universe is dualistic. Everything has to get balanced out. So that is what led to them ending up meeting. This is where I can't go into it too much, but I ended up meeting certain people. When I said I've been in a room with certain people, X, Y, and Z earlier, this is where that started happening. And then so this is where, yeah, I just disconnected. I don't know where I went. I went offline like for a long time, and I don't know. I don't know how to go into it without. Basically, I met some. Here's the thing. In that, like, there's always going to be a bigger, badder person. Whether that's in martial arts, and ultimately Anderson Silva gets beaten, even though he's the number one at the time. Jose Aldo gets dethroned. Fucking Dustin Poirier, then Connor's Connor. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it happens. Like, you're always going to get done. Ideally, you want that to happen in a good environment where you can pass the torch and go, hey, guess what? It's my time. Let me move on to bigger and better things. In that life, it's going to be someone just kills you. Do you get what I'm saying? Which is basically what nearly happened to me. So there's always going to be a bad about a person. I was never even bad to begin with. I was just trying to be because I was in so much pain. I was like trying to be a G and I just wasn't. Because why the fuck would you want to be good at that life? Do you get what I'm saying? Why would you want to be good at OnlyFans? Why would you want to be good at drug dealing? Why would you want to be good at anything that propagates suffering? Why the fuck would you want to be good at it? Do you get what I'm saying? Which, by the way, is another tactic they use where they got hold of rap music and made it from this conscious thing about unity and elevation into I sell more drugs than you and I kill more people. That's another thing that they've done. So when we say about the nutrition of attention, by the way, Pierre, if you go to America and your HB bar comes down, what music are they all listening to? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, they literally, they you know what's so mad about that whole thing with hip hop is that, like, with they've made slaves out of slaves rapping about how they used to be slaves. You get what I'm saying? It is the most fractally evil thing. It's fucking insanity. And you start looking at how that's now corrupting everyone else. It's actually nuts. So, and I know that industry as well. Like, obviously through that life, you connect with a lot of, you just see how lost so many people are and how they're rewarding the wrong people to try and propagate this illusion that everyone's under. And you see it now where you've got guys that have made money for OnlyFans, like talking about right and wrong and shit without ever redeeming it. They've never repented. How many of these guys have you ever seen, hey, I did this thing, it was terrible, I'm truly sorry? Do you get what I mean? That's why now I'm really struggling to even say this, because I'm like, I'm so sorry the fact that I ever did this and like and propagated it and justified it, even though I was hurting so much. Because even though I never really did anything directly to hurt people other than just be the, and here's the thing, when I hear people go, if it's not me, it's going to be someone else, you don't think I said the same shit? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, when these fucking OnlyFans cunts are all going, well, it's not me, it's their choice, it's I said all that stuff with drugs. Everyone says that stuff. But it's still me that went and did it. It's still me that fucking couldn't face my own demons at the time, that then took part in this fucking nonsense that spread darkness in the world. So, and the thing is, I have all the excuses. Even now, as I hear myself say this, but I try so hard to not do this. Like, I was suffering so bad. I tried the therapy, like I talked about. I didn't know what to do. I just didn't have a fucking dad. Like, that's why I'm getting upset now. It's like, I just didn't have a fucking man at the time to go, look, son, like, you're enough. Here's how you go and be the guy that you need to be. And I was just looking elsewhere for all these fucking external things to overcome it. And that's why when I see Mike Tyson fucking and he's talking about what he was like as a world champion, I see it so clearly in him. And I hear like Anthony and Opie talking about him, and you can hear people when they don't fully get it because their life has been good, and they're like, oh, well, he's just a thug. And it's like, no, like, so many of these guys are deeply suffering and they don't want to be bad. They don't want to have negative stuff. Like, they just want nothing more than just to fit into the rhythms of the world and just be good. But it's like, when you haven't really had that opportunity, but you've got the desire to do it, that's where the conflict comes, and that's where the pain comes, and that's where you got to be honest and have these breakthroughs where you're like, okay, this is actually who I really am. These are the copes that I'm going through. I'm lying, I'm cheating, I'm denying this truth to myself. So let me just be honest right now. Let me just strip myself naked and go, here's my strengths, here's my weaknesses, here's where I don't know what I don't know, here's me just doing my best to go forward. Do you get what I'm saying? That's what you've got to be like. So anyway, look, so to move it on, I met basically people that I shouldn't have met under the illusions of like cleaning money and setting up some business, and I got everything taken. I got literally everything taken. It was like nearly 7 figures. What's a millionaire? 7 figures. So it was a lot. It was like crypto, it was cash, it was just bullshit. So then when I realized what was happening, they were like, yeah, and what are we gonna do, you fucking idiot? Why are you in our world? And I was just like, oh man. So at this point, I've been taking drugs a lot. I've been injecting drugs, I've been smoking, like popping every drug you can think of. I was just taking it other than opioids. I never had that, no heroin or nothing, but it was just injecting ketamine, smoking crack, like all of this kind of thing. And so my body had just lost it. There was times during that period of my life I did not leave my house for 1 week straight. I swear to God, I was in this bedsit full of mold. I'd just stare at the ceiling and I'd be like, please don't let me wake up. I was like praying for it. I was like trying to manifest it. I was like, I don't have the balls to kill myself. I tried that a few times and just couldn't. And which I now know is light, right? It wasn't weakness. At the time I thought it was weakness. I was like, I'm a pussy because I can't even do this thing. And now I realize it was just some sort of strength there. I think it was my mum, it was my nan, it was the angel that saved me during these other times.
That's an interesting reframe, because people, I've heard that so many times, like, oh, I suppose you couldn't even do it.
Yeah, it's because you've got something bigger and you've got something you need to tap into that you've got a bigger purpose here, and it's just you owe it to that purpose to get through this fucking thing and just meet the right people that are going to take you to the right place. So, and I can come on to how exactly you do that, because I know when you're in that place it feels fucking impossible. Like, it legitimately feels like you're just never ever going to get better, but I promise you will. Look at me now, do you know what I mean? Maybe not right now because I'm a bit emotional, but like you know what I mean? Like, look at my life now.
Now, for SamRaz, one of the most fucking optimistic, positive motherfuckers I've met.
Motherfucker is a warrior, philosopher,
like,
king. Is like,
yeah,
he senses his aura when he walks in the building. Right? Yeah,
it's warrior. But I know I'm going to make that
like
money.
You've had like speeches after our sessions, and I've had goosebumps. I've just wanted to fucking go to war or something.
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
It's like,
of course.
But in like a good way. Like,
yeah,
just
so
being
that's
uplifted.
the warriorship there, and that there, right? What I'm talking about here is ego, though. This is self-preservation. The only thing that got me alive through that was I am too valuable to die, and I had never ever had that phrase ever until that moment. Even when I was fighting, I was like, oh, I hope I can win, and there was never like, you're too good. I just didn't have self-worth. I had no self-esteem through abuse, for it just getting beaten out of me growing up. Like, so when I was finally at this limit, so I got robbed, right? I was low T already. The stress, so this is why I now know a lot about functional medicine. The stress imploded my gut. My gut fell apart. My testosterone hit 9 mmol, which is like probably less than your dead granddad's. Like, bruv, my adrenals were fucked. I was getting liver failure. I was so ill, yeah. All right, this is going to get nuts. So here's what happened, right? If people think they've been at rock bottom, I'm now going to describe to you what rock bottom actually looks like. So, and a lot of it is biological. So I'm 28 years old at this point. I come back from another country where I'd gone and had all this mad shit happen, which itself is such a nut story. I'll tell it one day, but we'll come back next year and do like a part 2. We'll do it on a yacht, innit? No, because we're going to cake it so much. We'll do the part 2 on maybe a flying yacht. No one's done a flying yacht. So,
a spaceship.
Yeah, exactly. First podcast in space. So I come back, right, and the first thing that I did that really helped was accepted it, and I said, I fucked this up, and I took full accountability. I actually deserved this. That's what saved my life. I said I fully deserved everything that happened. You know, the moment when I turned it around was when I went back to my girlfriend actually picked me up at the station when I came back to England. And I was there just an absolute mess in disbelief. I don't know if you've ever had like acute shock, like a shock response, but I was like, did I actually just lose everything? I was in the middle of buying a house. I lost that. I was like, and I now owe someone 10 grand, by the way, because of the way things went. So I was like, am I actually in 10 grand debt when I was literally just set for life? Like, is this really just happening? And so I was laying down in her bed, like trying to process it. And I just started like fucking shaking and just kind of got this response of like, oh my God, like what the fuck? And then her mum came up and saw me like basically just hyperventilating. She was like, oh, don't worry, there's some bad people in the world, you'll be all right. As she said that, I couldn't respond because my body was shutting down. And this was like just years of drug use as well, do you know what I mean? It was just the final straw that just imploded me. I was just on the way out anyway, physically. She said that, yeah, and in my brain, a light went off. And it was really fucking interesting because on one hand, it was such a dark moment, but sometimes it was like this hallelujah light came in and I went, yeah, there are some, but I fucking did deserve this actually. I said, thank you for trying to be nice, but I 100% deserved every single thing that happened.
In the drug scene, selling drugs?
I think she had an inkling, but didn't really want to admit it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because most people that know me, like I knew my chick before I was in that. She'd been with me through everything. So she knew, I met her when I was fighting, when I was like 21. Do you know what I mean? She knew me as this bright, bubbly, like really trying to be like a good person, just with some issues. And then when I lost fighting, that's just when she saw me go down. But so yeah, shout out my chick. But she so her mum said that. She said, don't worry, don't be too harsh on yourself, is the word. And I'll never forget it. I might even fucking get it tattooed one day. But yeah, she said, don't be too. I said, no, I should be harsh on myself. I've never taken responsibility in the way that has been functional before. I've tried to be a man and stuff, but I've never learned this is what it is. It's like no one's coming to save you. And that's the phrase that I realized. I was like, there is no one right now. My mum can give me a hug, my chick can give me a hug, whatever. It's not going to get the money back, and it's not going to fix the reason I was even there. It's not going to fix anything. All I've got is me and me alone, and that's it. I'm going to be grateful for the support I've got, but if I don't fully embody what it is to turn this shit around, accept that I fully deserve the pain I'm in, I deserve to have to start from minus 10 grand and somehow get this money back, it is on me. And it's always been on me, and it's fully, something went off in my head then, and it changed everything, and it was the most empowering moment in my life. But here's the thing, as good as that felt, I then had the physical repercussions. So at this point, I had no testosterone, and testosterone is very dopamigenic, by the way. Like it regulates your dopamine. So if you don't have testosterone, you'll never feel reward, and you'll never feel peaceful, which is why low T people are always on edge. They're anxious. It's highly I've forgotten the word, like inversely synchronistic with cortisol. So like the lower dopamine, the more cortisol, and vice versa. So you're in fight or flight, you're in anxiety, you're snappy, you're in this feminine state of just, you have no peace. Testosterone is ironically a calming hormone, and everyone thinks it's like, oh, high T, you'll be aggressive. It's not. It calms you down, enables you to be at peace and feel comfort and provide space for other people and yourself. You can handle stress, and you can just be a bastion. That's what it actually does. It's your competence hormone. And when you don't have it, you're just empty, and you're snappy, and you're on edge, and you can't function, and you can't think for more than like an hour ahead. You can't plan. You have no competence, basically. So I was in that state perpetually, and I'd been in that state for years, right? But now it had like really taken, if it was down here, then it just dropped off. It was like, you know, when someone rug pulls you, and like then it fully just goes. That's what it felt like.
Times.
Yeah, I got hormonally cheated. Yeah.
Hormonally cheated.
I got TG. I got TG. I got the TG. So, and this is happening because why the gut's falling apart. So when you go through loads of stress, the cortisol shreds the gut lining, the philia of the gut, which means you get leaky gut where you can't digest food properly. You don't get nutrients, and you get histamine responses. You start getting inflammatory responses, and it just fucks up everything in your body. Essentially, you don't detox properly. My body. So I was trying really hard. So this is why I know anxiety and a lot of mental health. I was obviously depressed. Like all of this stuff has rooted in biology. Let me say it like this. The order of like mental health illnesses, if you want to call that, by the way, another massive start we can add to the list. There's no such thing as mental health. You just have health. The idea that you need to separate it is literally one of their tactics.
The gut-brain axis is literally where it all stems from, the gut, and then it goes to the brain.
100%. Your health is your health. You cannot be mentally healthy without being physically healthy, and vice versa. It's just bollocks. It's not real. I'll sit here with any fucking expert that's got more PhDs or whatever, and I'll fucking go to the death because I've really lived this. I understand it so well. Your thoughts precipitate behavior, which precipitates physical responses, which propagates symptoms. It's as simple as that. So if you don't know what that means, I'm saying your thoughts, whether negative or positive, lead to a physical response. If you have negative thoughts, you have a negative physical response that sustains the same negative thoughts. So in my instance, it was like, life is shit. I need to be dark and be a bad man, and let me go and get robbed, and oh look, I've lost everything. Life is shit. It was always shit, whatever. That went on for so many years. Guess what? My gut fell apart. And then I got TG'd. It was like, all right, well, now you're dealing with the physical response. So even though I was trying to think positive, I was like, come on, let's go get it. Come on, up I go, like up and running at him. Like, let's try and be a good person. All of a sudden, my body wouldn't let me. It would not let me. I knew what it took to get myself better because I've been doing PTs. I was like, let me get in the gym first thing in the morning. I'll get my shit together in the gym. I'll go sit in a calf, learn some copywriting or something. And I'll learn some sort of skill online, like everyone's trying to do, right? I'll go and do something better. I'm 28. I don't have anything right now. Let me just, other than a willingness to be better. Man, I couldn't do it. I would go to the gym and I would fucking start screaming while swinging kettlebells, and this is nuts. I promise you, the only way I can describe it. Have you seen Saving Private Ryan? Or do you know any soldiers or someone that's just had an attack in front of you?
Like
do you get what I'm saying? So like you're just there. Like in Saving Private Ryan, when he's in the trench at the end just screaming, that's what it's like. I would try and do the kettlebell, and my mind was trying to focus, but my body wouldn't. I would just shake and drop it, and because I dropped it, I would be like, oh no, I'm shit, and then I would just lose it. Like I would just start streaming. Someone called a fucking ambulance for me at one point. They were like, yo, just to let you know, we're really worried about you. And I was like, no, don't worry. Like trying to stoically get through it. I was like, mind over matter. My body would not carry it. It was done. It was fully finished. So I was having these breakdowns every day for like 6 months where I could not function. My mum had to come up. She didn't know if I'd wake up in the morning or not. She thought I was like trying to fucking overdose upstairs. So she'd come up and wake me up. She'd be like, and this is what I'm saying, I'm so grateful to her, because without this support, I don't know what the fuck I would have done. Like she would literally like coax me to the bathroom and help me brush my teeth. I was literally disabled. I'm not joking. And when then I started learning about, what she said to me, she was like, you might have parasites. You probably got some fucking shit in your body you need to fix. Because, and this is why I learned so much about the difference between men and women, which I don't think we're going to have time to go into, but this is a really important segue that about how the fact that I was in this state, and I was not even far from this state for most of my life, and no one ever said, look, this is not a man. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I've got pictures of me before and afters. Like now when I'm high T and I'm fighting versus back then, I'm the same like weight, but you can just see the state of me now. Like now I've embodied like my fucking male frame and duty. I look different through the picture, even though back then when I was fighting, I was in shape, but I just looked twinky and gay.
Even your face has changed.
My face changed. So I was like just a little gay boy, whereas now I'm like, I just look like a normal man, right? And so the fact that, and this is what made me realize as I started healing and leaving that environment, I was like, right, like I didn't have any masculinity anywhere. So my mum's there watching me screaming. I remember the way that it really hit me. I was there. I was sitting on the floor, like I was sitting on the floor, like just fucking holding myself, like trying to just not have a heart attack one night. And I heard her just say, God, this really isn't right, is it? And the way hearing her, it like kind of dropped
all your
from
inventions that came from women.
What I'm saying is that the fact that my whole world,
the little sparks came from women.
Well, the whole worldview come from women, right? But what I'm saying is that the fact that I'm here, I'm a 28-year-old man with like an IQ of whatever I've got, like probably like 120 or something, like all this life experience, like I've done so much, and there's so much. You're seeing it now with the coaching. That I've got all this potential. And I've got my mum going like, "Ooh, it doesn't seem right that you're shaking on the floor, like hyperventilating at 28 years old." Like there was nothing before that to go, "Come on, son, like here's what," because they don't know. What the fuck does a mum know about raising a son? She can just do what she can do as a woman. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you don't have a man, like a proper man bringing you up, you end up in these states, and now you've got 30-year-olds living with their parents, playing video games. I was just an extreme version of that. Do you get what I'm saying? I tried to go out into the world and make something happen, but if you don't have male accountability, which is my point, you don't have that warriorship to go get up with fucking, this is what you got to do, like da-da-da. You need that fraternity, and I didn't have it, is my point. And that was the moment that really hit me. So where that was such a big aspect, an environmental aspect, the cause of all these problems. So I then go and get blood work done, and but I knew that I didn't want to go to some bullshit like mainstream clown doctor. So we spoke about clown world therapists. You got clown world medical doctors as well.
Of course.
You need to go to a healer. There's a difference in a healer and a doctor, right? A healer's holistic. This is why my whole theory is about holistic competence. It's like mind, body, spirit. Like you want to connect with. I went to a guy that I knew I could be anti-Semitic with. That like they knew that there's guys running the world that aren't on our team. Like he was that understands like the other aspects beyond just, okay, your AST, ALT is down. Let's look at your liver. It's like there's a system at play here. Like what's connecting to the liver that's not being addressed, and why is that? Do you get what I'm saying? So I went to a guy and he said, bro, look at these results. And he showed me the results and he said, now look at yours. And they were the same. And he said, guess who this was? And he said, the first one was a 65-year-old guy that just had a heart attack. He was like, you have the same blood work right now as a 65-year-old guy that's just basically almost died from a heart attack. So he was like, you're in a serious state. It's no wonder you can't fucking function. My body was fucked. So I learned a lot about and this is why I say people don't understand how bad it can get. Like they really don't. And when your mindset, and this is why, by the way, some of my biggest inspirations are people that have physical impairments. So like guys without legs or whatever, or people that have serious physical disability. When you can just move your body to any degree, you have so much of the fix you need as a man right there to make your life better. Just start moving your fucking body, optimize your health, and the path will just unfold itself. So like you said, when you see these fat people that are just self-imposed disability, I'm not even going to use the gift of movement. All the fight, we've done mostly technical coaching, but like with John, for example, with clients that want to work with me over the long term, it's like a lot of what I do is like dancing, gymnastics, like just some sort of physical expression, like integrating into how the fuck you actually move. Because when you really understand the beauty of this vessel you've got, like you just free, like that's what everyone wants when they want money, is freedom. Well, start with the freedom of movement. Do you get what I'm saying? So I didn't have that. I was trying and I just could not move my body. It just wasn't working. So that's why I did this whole year process of supplements and diet, and I learned about all of that stuff. And then it came into the environment. So I started getting my testosterone back, all the supplements and everything. And I've got a whole, I can explain exactly how I did that, but it'll take a while. Testosterone's a holistic thing. It's not just take Tonga Ali and you'll get high T. There's a lot that goes into it.
Environment.
It's massively environmental,
100%.
yeah, hugely. So
Massive.
then I was like, all right, cool. Let me just, so at this point, I thought, right, what do I actually have here? So this is how I really turned it around. I was like, what the fuck do I actually have? We'll go into this another time because this is fucking insane. This is what I said in the gym, but I'm not going to say it now because it's nuts. I had joined a network, yeah. I had joined a network. How do I actually, okay. I'm going to say, remind me, because that is a cool story. Basically, I was part of a network, and that's all I had in the world at that point. I was like, okay, my old plug, the guy that gave me the drugs before, he was like, I really like you do things professionally. I'm going to give you a load on tick. Like, I'm going to give you a shipment and you can get yourself up and running again. I was like, thanks, no thanks, bye. And just never, ever look back. So And bearing in mind, when you're in that world, you have this dual life. You're like on the underworld, and you've got the normal world, and you live this dual life. It's fucking weird. I promise you. You get institutionalized. So if you in that life, and by the way, you can't even say what you do. This is another thing how I see through inauthenticity. All these wankers in Dubai that are doing like crypto, but it's really blood money or laundering or OnlyFans, and they say it's marketing. You can see through it. Imagine waking up every day and starting your day with a lie. Oh, what do? I do marketing. I do model management.
Yeah.
You are speaking Satanism into the world. Like you're saying a thing that's not true. The truth is all we have. That's all we have in the world is our truth, right? And if you're not even leading with truth in your own daily life, what does that say about you? What does that say about your body, the health that you're going to end up with or lack of rather? Do you get what I mean? Like the kind of connections you're going to meet. If I say to you, hey, Tom, I do marketing, and you're like, really? You're just instinctively going to pick it up. You know what I mean? The only people that are going to come into your life are also fake people.
If you're proud, you'd say, what type of marketing? I fucking work with these businesses or whatever.
Yeah.
You'd have something there.
I do model management. It's like, well, you put out a frequency, and if it's an inauthentic one, you're going to get it back. People like us aren't going to roll with people like that. So they don't get access to good people that could actually help them. And I get people saying to me now, oh, how do I work with you? I heard your health really good at like helping people with their health. And I'm like, oh, what do you do? And they're like, oh, model management. I'm like,
Fuck off.
Next person. Yeah, exactly.
But would you not work with him and maybe try like show him the light? Like
I've tried it, but like I said, you can't. You get taken out of that game. It's a trap. Whether it's drugs, OnlyFans, doesn't matter. It's all the same. No one would have taken me out of drugs. I had to learn it myself. That's why I don't waste time with people like that, because you're only going to get it. It's not even worth trying to get someone to ever stop darkness, because the only way they'll do it is by getting it to themselves.
Their own destruction.
It's how they've got it. Yeah, exactly. So the only way you can is by avoiding it. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the only way. So I get my shit together again, and I realize all I've got is just this Telegram group. I've got a Telegram group. The story of how I got it, I'll tell you another time because it is crazy. But I'm in this marketing group, right? And I'm like, okay, what do I have? I don't have anything other than just a few connections here, because I let my whole life go. I deliberately didn't speak about martial arts. I wanted to forget it. I was like, if I can't fight anymore, I don't even want to know about it. All my friends, I didn't have any fucking real contact. So, and I was institutionalized. People say, what do you do? And I'd be like, I promise you, for the first week I came out of that, in the first few months, it was the weirdest thing, just not having an identity. It was really fucking strange. Like, I was like, I'm not a criminal anymore. I'm not, because I used to make stuff up like crypto. They said, what do you do? I crypto trade. And meanwhile, I've got like fucking, like an ounce of coke in my pants. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. So I've like ballsed all this food. So it's so now I'm actually trying to live authentically. I don't know what the fuck I am. So that was another thing. And I realized this phrase, like, when you find your health, you find yourself, right? And that's a really big one. A lot of these people that don't know what they are or who they are, it's because they're unhealthy. So calibrate into your health first. That's why it's the first pillar in what I teach. Get your nutrition right, food, biology, but then your environment right. So I started realizing, all right, well, I don't want to be here because everyone here is miserable. The only reason I'm in drugs is because it's everywhere. Everyone is on drugs in my town. I really mean that. Like, more people than not. It's fucking insane, and it's encouraged. Like I said, at school, they're teaching you how to shoot up healthily. It's nuts. So I need to get the fuck out of here. So someone in this group posted about boxing, and I was like, right, I actually know quite a lot about boxing, and I'd forgotten about it. I'd literally deliberately forgotten about boxing for like 5 years or something, 3 years or some shit. And I messaged him, and he was like, oh, you know what you're talking about? I was like, fuck, I actually do, you know. He was like, do you want to come meet me? Like, can you come teach me? Are you near? And I was like, yeah, I'm an hour away. I went and linked him. He was like, bro, do you want to just live with me? He was like, come stay. You don't have to pay rent. Get me a fight. I want to fight. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I can do that. And just put him through a fight camp. He won his fight. And then he introduced me to someone. He was like, yo, this guy's sick at boxing. You should learn from him. This guy then suggested, yo, in Thailand, I know a lot of people that would want to train with you. Can you get over there? I was like, bro, I'd do anything to get over there. Like, fuck yeah. And so I just somehow got together whatever I got. It was like a couple of grand or whatever. And made my way over to Thailand. This was in 2020, end of 2022. So about 18 months ago. So that was the start and the genesis. And over here, and this is where it gets crazy. So I started meeting people like in this group that wanted to like just learn fighting. But in the way that I taught it was like you touched on the holistic thing. They were like, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to have a fight, but I don't want to be a pro fighter. I just want to use it to get better in relationships and overcome anxiety and stuff like that. Because even when I was in that horrible state, I was still able to talk. I was still able to like teach and elevate and point stuff out to people and go like, I'm going through this. I reckon you're going through that. And here's what I suggest for you. And they'd be like, bro, no one's ever said that. No. So came over here, and then I was here for about 3 months, right? 2-3 months max. Not even that, 2 months. Bro, it was 6 weeks. What's that? 6 weeks, a month and a half. Literally a month and a half I was over here. I have my first student, has his first fight, right? This is crazy. This is where it gets nuts. My first student has his first fight that I set up for him. We're down at the place where he's going to fight. On the day of the fight, I felt like I got stabbed in the side of my body. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is really, I thought I pulled a muscle in my back. I was like, oh shit, that's a muscle spasm. Let me just put some ice on it and deal with it. I'm like, no, this is actually really bad. So this is the day before, actually, the day before. So I go to sleep and I'm like, fuck, I hope when I wake up it's a bit better. I was waking up in the night, it was throbbing, it was so bad. The day of the fight, he's like, yo, are we good for later? I'm like, yeah, cool, say nothing. And I don't want to say anything because I don't want to off-put him because it's his debut fight. I have to go to the hospital. I'm like, bro, something's really wrong. They do some tests. They were like, bro, you having kidney failure. I was like, no, I don't. I was like, I've just survived like nearly dying by a cartel. Like, no, I'm not having kidney failure. Trust me. I've just bounced back from nearly having fucking liver failure. Like, nah, shut up. And they were like, all right, well, you are. So what do you want to do? I was like, fam, are you mental? Like, what? And so I say, look, in my head, I'm like, I've got to be in a ring in 4 hours, like coaching this kid. I was like, give me the strongest painkillers you have and let me just go and hold it down for my fight. Because I gave him my word. And here's another lesson. You only have your word as a man. You don't have anything else. You just don't. If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. I would rather have died in that moment going to battle with my friend and just fucking going, oh, I've got a bit of gay kidney failure. Like, let me just tap out, fuck off. Like, I came that far. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Who gives a shit? So, and that's another thing. Like, find a purpose bigger than yourself. Like I said, you transcend the ego. Your ego is there to keep you alive, but then you get to a point you're like, I don't even need it. And that's why like the Taliban are unstoppable. And like, do you know what I mean? Like certain like Irish Catholic guys, like it's just, you can't stop them because they don't give a shit. SamRaz, they're like, well, Valhalla, Vikings, like let me go somewhere even greater than this. Like this is just temporary. Who gives a fuck? That's why you can't beat them. So I started tapping into that. I was like, whatever. I turn out, I'm like limping along, like trying to get him into the ring. The next day, he has his fight, and the next day we drive back to Bangkok. So we're like 3 hour drive away, and where was it? Hua Hin. And we get back to Bangkok, and I'm like, bro, I need to go to hospital. They were like, if you don't get surgery right now, your kidney's actually going to explode. It would like swollen 3 times the size because it was blocked. So it's filling up with piss and fluid. And they were like, it's been like this for months. You've been like just leaking toxins and piss into you for like the past few months. So I had to have emergency kidney surgery over the space of 4, I think it was like 4 or 5 months. No, it was about 4, what was it? 4 month recovery, 3-4 month recovery, 3 surgery spaced out. I lost a bit of my kidney, they cut a bit out. And that was the harshest, that was the real test. If the test before wasn't the main test, this was it. Because I was sat in my little bedsit in this little setup that I got for myself, trying to pull myself out of that other environment into this one. I was like, that has to be it. That's got to be it now. Like there can't be a last thing. So let me just hold it down for this. Let me overcome this on my own. Then it's my time. Like my time's now coming. Like I'll fully. If I can survive all of this, I'll be cool. That'll be good. And I started touching on the spiritual side of medicine, which was like, oh, I've been so pissed off my whole life. It makes sense that my piss is in my body. Do you get what I mean? Like that expression, pissed off. I was like, oh, this is a piss-related thing. I've got toxins literally in me. And you know what was crazy? A realization I had. What's the function of urine other than getting rid of excreting toxins in the animal kingdom? Dogs
marking your territory.
Yeah, I had a conflict in territory. Like growing up, I didn't really feel like I wanted to be this thing and I wasn't allowed to be this thing. I was like, it makes complete sense that my ability to, do you know what I mean? Like my territory would get impaired and it would manifest as like an impairment in that aspect of the body. And this is how, like, when I look at people, I'm like, how's the body put together in terms of the environmental structure as well, the relationship, of the body to the environment. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when people are lying to themselves and they're not happy with their situation, it's going to manifest as a body issue. Do you get what I'm saying? So when people are lying about stuff and you're holding in something that you don't really feel truthful about, that you don't feel comfortable with, and you're not being truthful about expressing it, if you don't express it out, it's going to stay in. And guess what? It's going to block you up somewhere. I've had that twice now with my hip, with my kidney. Do you get what I'm saying? So I really understand this shit. And there's a book called Body Keeps the Score everyone should read, by the way, relating to this. So point is, I overcame this kidney failure and I started. So here's the real final lesson was that aspect of that chapter was you have basically 2 choices. It becomes binary. It's either the best thing of all time or the worst thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be one of those things. So I'm sat there, I've got blood fucking leaking out my dick. Oh yeah, I had a tube from my kidney to my bladder for like 3 months. So I couldn't like sit or move without real pain like this. Me getting up like that, it would be like I was getting stabbed for 3 months every day. And when I pissed, it would just be bright red. It was fucking horrible. I couldn't move, I couldn't do nothing. For 3 months, this fucking tube in me. And I'm there just holding it down. I'm like, okay, this has been shit. Apparently it's about to get worse. I'm going to decide to make this the best thing ever. I'm just going to decide to make this the best thing of all time. I promise you, I'm going to have to, because I have to. I don't have another choice, because otherwise I'm just going to fucking lose my mind. And meanwhile, I've got this gut problem from before, and like my histamine's all over the place, and my neurotransmitters are fucked. I can't pay attention. My kidney's hurting. I've got the most unbelievable brain fog. If you've ever had that, like, it started affecting my testosterone again. I was just like, oh my God, I'm getting miserable. All this anxiety's coming back. I was getting skin disorders. Look, can you see there?
Yeah.
They still come back occasionally. So like there, you got little remnants of red. I was getting these all over my body. So hives just non-stop everywhere. I look like fucking being raped by a strawberry. So that was all this shit was going on for like 3 months in 2023. This time last year, a year ago today. So, and I'm like, I have to turn this into the best thing ever. So I started documenting it on my stories. I was like, okay, well, here's my lesson for today. Here's why it's amazing. Da da da. Like I was still turning up to coaching. I was trying to hold pads for people or whatever, and figuring out a way. I wasn't holding pads. I was getting them to. I was just using my mind to try and overcome it, right? And I just realized I've only got my energy right now and my projection. If I can just make it positive, something good will come from this. And that's where Big John, like he messaged me, he was like, and another guy did actually, he was like, the way you've held down with this kidney thing, it's nuts. Like, I'm going through certain shit, can you help me with this? I was like, wow, people are seeing the inspiration here. And this is what alchemy is, it's turning lead into gold. And this is the most valuable trait that every human being can have, is can you become an alchemist? Can you turn any stress into something sparkly that people want? It's as simple as that. Everyone has that option. The question is, do you want it?
Yeah.
Like that's what it comes down to. Do you want to be able to do that? If you do, understand it's going to be hard, but it's a really good thing to aim for. So no matter what your situation is, all I can speak from mine is that you might as well just go for it. You might as well try and become an alchemist. Like an actual alchemy is, look it up in medieval times, it was like the most revered thing. Kings would spend fucking all their wealth on, can we get this sorcerer to turn this fucking rock into a crystal? Like they wanted to try and change reality. You can do that with your own. You know what I mean? Relationship to reality. Yeah, for real. So that was, and then since then I recovered from the kidney thing, and that's how now my time's coming. Do you know what I mean? Like you guys are probably some of the last that I'm going to teach in person because I want to do it all online. I've put all my system online. And it's fucking sick. It's It's from all of that story.
Yeah, plug it.
I'll plug. Yeah, so it's called Don Dojo. So like basically it's named because all systems of like all societies have had like a barracks, you know what I'm saying, a Shaolin temple and a Goje for Spartans, like a training ground. You need a fucking training ground as a man, and obviously as we become online, like I've put all mine online, so it's like a community where you can first and foremost learn the pillars of fucking health. Fundamentally, I'm talking holistic health, like your nutrition, of environment, of food, your software, your personality, your creed, your purpose, like your vibrational state, like your goal setting, these kinds of things, like your relationship to your past, like your ambitions, like what's the software that's programming the hardware, which is the section 3, which is your hardware, your mobility, your longevity, your components of fitness, explosivity, cardio, all the rest of it that goes into athletic performance, strength for fighting, physique as well, if you're into physique, although it's a bit gay. And I think if you focus on purely physique, you're a faggot. Like you just get dangerous and you're going to look good anyway. So nutrition, software, hardware, and fourth is combative. So this is the technical aspects of coaching. I've got self-protection, which is first and foremost just, can you protect yourself in the world? Like, are you aware? Do you know about like violence, confrontations, and all the rest that go with it? Striking, grappling, and then like basically I've yet to like actually name this. It's basically, I want to call it, oh actually no, edit that. I don't know what the name is. This is, by the way, every time we be coaching I'll be down in a second. This is what I've been working on right now, so edit that in, innit? Edit this bit in. Make sure you cut this out because that looks like I don't know my product, but I do. So we've got striking, grappling, we've got self-protection, striking, grappling, and then counter offense. And counter offense is like what we were doing earlier, like parrying, slipping, rolling, like evasion, stuff like that.
I just want to put this out there. That sounds basic. I can just look that up on YouTube. Parry, slip, whatever. Trust me, I can. I've been boxing for 4.5 years. I stepped in the gym with SamRaz. The shit's fucking light years ahead. Yeah. He's really not selling it as well as he could be right now. Trust.
No, nobody can. This is the point. I tried to open the podcast with this. This is not, we cannot quantify anything we've been talking about.
I got about a year and a half of boxing in 5 days from
this
SamRaz.
is just boxing, right? And then there's like the lessons that come along with this stuff. You've seen what he's been through, and you've seen what he's you should be seeing what he's turned into now. It's fucking
all of that comes from training around the world. Don't get twisted. I had a good career in fighting. Like I trained with John Dan. I trained with the best guys in the world.
McGregor.
I've trained with really legit motherfuckers. Even now, I trained with Superlek the other day. Like I know how to put myself in the right situation. So
but you study these fuckers, like you said, like Sanchez, whatever. The Muay Thai goat. You're like, you know all of his tricks. You've studied them. I
trained with his teacher. With Philip.
It's not just like you see the strike. You're looking at like where are his eyes looking when he's doing this shit.
With a soul, bro. He's like, put your soul into this, fuck, bro. it's not possible.
Yeah.
And
And the
if
reason
you're not
that-
in this room right now, you're not getting everything you need. It's just how it is.
It's the system though as well. Like it's the system of like if you're a complete beginner. So my aim here with all of this is you go from a floppy guy that hears this, or they just know within them I need to learn to be more competent, like physically, and just project myself better. Ideally through martial arts, I need to learn to defend my family, all the rest of it. I will get you fight ready faster than anyone on earth. Like that's my promise to anyone. I'll teach you to knock someone out in 8 weeks flat, like easy, like in a resisting opponent. I promise you, I can teach anyone that because I've done it over the past like few years now. Like I've literally, when I was doing drugs and shit, I was like teaching a little bit, but I've had so many different types of people. I know the system, the universal principles. It doesn't matter your personality, how good or talented you are. I know that there's certain things that if I just give them to you in the right order, you're gonna be able. And my skill is relaying that to someone on their terms. That's
You said you're willing to put money on that as well.
I will. Yeah, I say this to any coach. Right, my challenge is to any coach: get a beginner. I'll get a beginner, and our aim is to give the beginner to each other. So you want to find the most spazzy guy you can, the most incompetent beginner you can find, and give him to me. I'll do the same and I'll give him to you, and we'll make them fight after 8 weeks. And I guarantee you, my guy, the spastic you find me will smash your spastic.
I know that for a fact. I know that for a fucking fact.
Just tell me where we're betting on it, and I'll fucking
Put a fucking 4-man parlay on it.
Fucking 12-man Ugandan parlay. Fucking weird.
So that's and by the way, just the way it's run, it's like all of those topics have video courses. Like they've each got like 3 courses for each one. So you're just going to watch it and it's going to be like a uni degree in all of the subjects that I've touched on. Do you get what I mean? So the technicals of fighting, of nutrition.
I'm going to be in the fucking community.
100%,
sick.
What the fuck?
I've already done the fucking in relationship. I'm going to be in the community as well.
And I
I'm
want people
selling
to
my crypto bag, paying everything I have to join the community.
But what actually is it like low ticket?
No, I'm going to make it. So I'm going to try different things. For the first like 50 people, I will make it cheap just to get some movement there. But I have had one thing that really inspired me recently, and we spoke about this in the gym. And it's your relationship to your own value. What I've learned recently, I've had lots of people tell me you've got to charge more. And because I was conditioned younger to be told you're not worth anything, don't ever ask for too much. Like I've got that slave programming. I'm trying to force myself to charge more for it. But with this, what I'm going to do is keep it low ticket at the start, and I'm just not going to get involved. So if you want access to me, you got to pay what fucking other guys are.
Yeah, whatever the fuck me and Pierre paid for this week, I'm telling you, it was fuck what we got out of it is insane.
That was
Motherfucker, garage sale price.
I'm not doing that's because I like you two, though, innit? I like you two. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for anyone else.
Yeah.
But I look forward to your 2 fights, by the way. You've done.
Oh, fuck yeah, 2.5 weeks. Myself and Pierre fighting on the same show. Pierre started boxing 6 fucking weeks ago.
Yeah.
Really, I'm impressed, honestly.
Yeah. It was funny because like Pierre started boxing 6 weeks ago. We're in the gym. After 2 weeks of us training, coach came up to us and was like, "Oh, there's a fight here or whatever in 6 weeks." Or sorry, in like was it 10 weeks at the time or something?
No, 7 weeks at the time.
7
8,
time. And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll take it." Because I already fought before. I wasn't fit, but I get fit in 7 weeks, easy. But I was like to you, I was like, Pierre, do you think you'd be ready in 7 weeks? And you're like, run it.
Yeah, bro. Fuck it. But before Tommy walked in, because he was just walking around seeing how many people he could get, like see who wants to, whatever. He walked in right before Tommy got in there. He was like, "Oh, we have a fight." I was like, "Yes."
But then also like you could have said it to me, you're like, "What you think?" And I was like, "Yeah." But if we're gonna do this, though, we're doing it schizo. So from then we like set up a plan. We're fucking doing like 2K in the pool every fucking second day. We're training fucking 2-3 times a day. Fucking breath holds underwater, 3-minute fucking breath holds from like 120 to 3 minutes over like 3 weeks, like taking it schizo all angles. And then I was just at home in my bed and I was like, how can we make this more schizo? And then I was like, that fucker SamRaz. I was like, he seems like he knows his shit.
That's fucking Karate Kid movie, bro.
Yeah. I was like, how can we make this more schizo? And then we just come to Bangkok for a week and meet the wizard.
Yeah, meet the fucking wizard,
meet the
bro.
fucking shamanic warlord.
It's like Karate Kid on LSD, yeah. That's the karate.
But like, just for myself, like, I already could box or whatever. I already had a fight, fucking knockout, whatever fuck. But like, I knew that I was self-awareness, like you talk about this all the time. Like I just knew that I had like certain things I wasn't doing, or even the things I didn't know that I didn't know, I knew that they were there. And like you've just given me so much fucking confidence this week. So I'm like, all right, I know now what I didn't know, and now I know that I just need to be doing these things. And like if I just fucking run these every day, part of my session.
By the way, that's what consultancy is. It's just often just getting confirmation from just an outside source. You might already know it.
I just have more confidence now. Obviously, I have way more tools, like shit like that. Whatever strategy going into the
you're
fight.
Gonna kill it. You're gonna smash it. But you know, even just like I look at people over like a timeline. I'm like, where are you gonna be in 2 years from now? You could have legit pro experience. Like you get some good pro fights in. You move very good for your size as well. It's interesting. You have got an interesting dynamic. Wait, I want to try and introduce my product. We got like 2 minutes in it. Watch this. I'm gonna try and do this as if it's already where I know it will be. Should we try and manifest it?
Yeah,
manifest.
like
shoot it.
Yeah, shoot it.
All right. All right, cool. So it's called Don Dojo. Yeah, Don Dojo. Already got hundreds of people in there. You learn everything, nutrition. You learn everything you need to learn to go from complete floppy retard into unstoppably competent bastion of excellence that inspires the universe and manipulates it around your little finger to your motherfucking will. Via the infallibly proven SamRaz system of nutrition, software, hardware, and combatives. Nutrition, I'll teach you everything you need to know via too many courses to mention, but they're all incredible. You need to look at them. Via edible nutrition, food, environmental nutrition, how to position yourself in the world to get what you want, which will underpin your software, which is personality, creed, vibrational state. That will then power your hardware, how you move, your mobility, your longevity, your strength, all the components of fitness you need for fighting. So cardio, explosivity, all of that kind of stuff, physique as well, fat loss. Then we got into the technical aspects of fighting via the combative pillar. So combatives has tens of courses at this point, probably about 20, ranging from self-protection, so how to protect yourself, what people call self-defense in reality, looking after you and your family and stuff. Then the prize fighting aspect of striking, so we've got boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, karate, all of this kind of thing, grappling, and then counter offense, so how to protect yourself within a prize fight. So there's courses on all of them. It's a whole community. It's a whole community with hundreds of other guys that you can link up with, learn from, people that have already been through the system that will guide you along the way. And it's currently very, very affordable, very, very low ticket, but it's got everything you need. Over probably 100 grand's worth of knowledge that I've learned over 10 years, condensed into one syllabus, one easy to digest syllabus. Follow it along, you become unstoppable and knock out anyone within 8 weeks of training, guaranteed motherfucking.
Those gangster shit ever fucking heard.
Yeah.
Those gangster shit ever fucking heard. Fact. Yeah, bro. Just real quick, we'll stack it up and wrap it up right here. I want to add some chronology to everything we just said because it's the fucking heaviest shit of all fucking time. You go through SamRaz's story, please try to look at it in a phase of stages, peaks and valleys, where he started from the fucking very beginning, heavy Islamic background, going through to the liberal place and all the fucking values that they're trying to impose on him that he's resisting, all the way getting through to what happens when he's younger, because it's shit some spread along this podcast. You look at it as stages, fucking up, down, up, down, up, down, to collect fucking expertise that he's collected to this day to be one of the best men that I've ever met, and I will say that humbly right now. I don't always agree in being humble, but you're humble in front of anybody that's mentoring you. Fact. Look at it and fucking watch it 10 times. Literally. I can't explain it to you. You'll get some stuff that we're getting by osmosis of being around him. Obviously, being around him is fucking... you should be paying 7-figure amounts to be in the same room as this motherfucker. But I want you to watch this podcast in stages and just kind of fucking learn what you can with a notepad out if you can.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'll be where I close it. We have Sabre supplements. Sabre is basically fucking full health men's stack. Look at our website. It'll be linked at the bottom. SamRaz, all SamRaz's shit is going to be linked. SamRaz, where can they find you? Where's the best place to find you?
At DON_SAMRAZ, at Don_SamRaz on Twitter, Insta, and then Telegram. Don Dojo is a free Telegram. And then obviously the paid community where you get full access to everything. And also, by the way, I will say, yeah, DM me about any problems. Like just DM me what you're going through, anything that you related to that triggered something in you that you want help with. It will help me build a better service. Do you get what I'm saying? I like to hear what people are currently facing that I might have missed myself. So help me to help you and the rest of the world. Do you get what I'm saying?
100%. Pierre Cortani on Twitter, Pierre_Cortani. You'll see it all over the video. Closing USD. Everybody knows this motherfucker. And yeah, good shit, bro. That was a fucking
savage
podcast.
Sick.
Oh, that's so sick, bro. Thank you, bro.